I thought showing up to his charity gala with our 3-year-old triplets who look exactly like him would be my moment of quiet dignity. Instead, I watched a room full of Boston's elite go silent as my ex-boyfriend's face drained of color, because apparently intercepting my pregnancy letter and pretending I never existed was just the beginning of his cruelty. He'd invited me to serve drinks, a sick joke about how we first met, but when his father dropped to his knees in front of my children, tears streaming, whispering grandchildren, like a prayer he'd been waiting years to say, I realized this night was about to shatter more than just Ethan's perfect facade. What I didn't know was that his apology would go viral, a tabloid would try to destroy me, and I'd have to decide if the man who abandoned me could ever become the father my babies deserved. Subscribe and comment below if you've ever had to choose between protecting your heart and giving your kids the family they're begging for, because trust me, this story twists harder than you think. The morning light filtered through the second-hand curtains, casting warm squares across the cramped kitchen where Maya Johnson poured cereal into 3 mismatched bowls. Liam already sat at the table, legs swinging, while Zoe attempted to climb into her booster seat backwards. Noah clutched his stuffed elephant, watching his siblings with dark, serious eyes. Arms up, Zoe. Maya lifted her daughter, settling her properly. The apartment smelled like toast and the lavender spray she used to mask the building's perpetual mustiness. Construction paper turkeys covered the refrigerator last month's daycare project, their glitter threatening to scatter across tomorrow's breakfast. She'd meant to take them down, never found the time. Liam's got my spoon. Zoe's voice pitched toward a wail. Use your words, baby. Liam, what do we say? Sorry. He surrendered the spoon without real remorse, already shoveling cereal into his mouth. Maya checked the clock above the stove, 7:47. Daycare opened at 8:30. Her shift at the resource center started at 9. The mathematics of single motherhood operated on minutes, not hours. She'd just finished braiding her hair back when the doorbell rang. The triplets froze, 3 small faces turning toward the sound. They didn't get visitors. Not at this hour. Not ever, really, except Sienna. Stay put. Maya crossed the narrow hallway, peered through the peephole. A courier stood outside, clipboard in hand, expression professionally bored. She cracked the door, keeping the chain latched. Maya Johnson? That's me. Signature required. She signed, accepted the thick envelope. The paper felt expensive under her fingers, cream-colored stock, her name written in elegant calligraphy that belonged in a different life. The courier vanished down the stairwell before she'd closed the door. Back in the kitchen, Zoe had discovered Noah's elephant on the floor and claimed it as spoils of war. Maya separated them on autopilot, her attention fixed on the envelope, the Cole Foundation logo pressed into the wax seal. Her hands went cold. She knew that foundation, knew exactly who'd established it 3 years ago, after his mother died. She'd read about it online during one of those late-night moments of weakness when she searched his name, hating herself even as her fingers moved across the keyboard. The invitation slid free embossed gold lettering announcing the annual charity gala, hosted by Ethan Cole and Jessica Harding. Saturday evening, black tie optional, and tucked inside, a small card in handwriting she'd once known better than her own. So you can serve drinks this time. The room tilted. 5 years ago, she'd coordinated a non-profit fundraiser. He'd been the corporate sponsor, all sharp suits and easy charm, writing checks that could have covered her rent for 6 months. They'd talked for hours after the event ended, sitting on the venue's back steps while the caterers packed up around them. He'd asked for her number. She'd given it. 8 months later, she'd thought they were building something real. Then his mother died, and he'd disappeared into his grief. She'd given him space, written him a letter when she discovered the pregnancy, her hands shaking so hard the words barely stayed legible, waited for a response that never came. 4 weeks after she'd mailed it, she'd seen him photographed at some gallery opening, Jessica Harding on his arm, both of them smiling like people who'd never known real trouble. Maya had understood then. She wasn't part of his world, never had been. The letter must have landed in his trash, unopened. She'd stopped searching his name after that. Mummy? Liam stood beside her chair, his small hand on her knee. The other 2 had gone quiet, their breakfast forgotten, watching her with that uncanny awareness children possessed when the adults around them fractured. Mummy sad? She forced her face into something resembling calm, smoothed his dark curls. No, baby. Just thinking. Finish your cereal, okay? We've got to get you all to Miss Patricia's. The morning routine absorbed her teeth brushed, shoes located, Noah's elephant rescued from under the couch. She moved through it mechanically, her mind replaying that handwritten line over and over, "So you can serve drinks this time," as if that's all she'd ever been. The help. Someone to fetch champagne and disappear when the real guests arrived. She dropped the triplets at daycare, kissed 3 foreheads, promised she'd be back after work, walked to her car in the parking lot, climbed behind the wheel, sat there as the tears came. Not because she wanted him. That ship had sailed into dark water years ago, but because she'd thought she'd healed, thought she'd built something strong enough that his cruelty couldn't touch her anymore. She'd been wrong. That evening, after the triplets finally surrendered to sleep Liam in his twin bed, Zoe and Noah sharing the other because they screamed if separated, Maya returned to the kitchen table. The invitation sat where she'd left it that morning, cream paper glowing under the overhead light. She photographed it, sent it to Sienna with shaking fingers. "You're not going to believe this." Her phone rang before she'd set it down. "What the actual hell? Hi to you too, Maya." Sienna's voice carried that dangerous quiet that preceded explosions. "Tell me this isn't real." "It's real." That smug, entitled words failed her, replaced by a string of creative profanity. "After 4 years of silence, he invites you to serve drinks?" Maya's reflection stared back from the darkened window above the sink. Single mother, part-time employee, woman who'd once believed a man like Ethan Cole could love someone like her. Did I ever matter to him at all? Silence stretched across the line. Then Sienna spoke again. Her voice changed, sharper, clearer. "I planned that gala." Maya blinked. "What?" "My company landed the Cole Foundation contract 2 months ago. I've been coordinating the whole thing." A pause, loaded with possibility. "Which means I can get you in. Not as staff, as a guest." Maya's fingers tightened on the invitation. Something shifted in her chest, not hope, exactly. Something harder, colder. "I can't just show up." "Why not?" "He invited you. With 3 kids and a grocery store dress budget? We'll figure it out." Sienna's determination could have moved continents. "You're not letting him win this. Not after everything." Maya looked at her reflection again, saw someone tired, someone who'd been carrying the weight alone for 3 years, while Ethan Cole hosted galas and built empires, and forgot she existed. "Let me think about it." "Think fast. It's Saturday." After they hung up, Maya sat in the silence of her small apartment, listening to the building settle around her. Somewhere above, a couple argued. Below, a television murmured. She picked up the invitation one more time, traced the embossed lettering. "So you can serve drinks this time." Her jaw set. Maybe it was time Ethan Cole learned exactly what and who he'd thrown away. Sienna let herself in before sunrise, balancing 2 coffees and a bag of bagels against her hip. Maya sat at the kitchen table in her worn pajamas, the invitation still centered like a piece of damning evidence. "You look like hell." "Didn't sleep." Sienna dropped into the opposite chair, slid a coffee across. "Okay. So here's the thing I need to tell you, and you're going to lose your mind." Maya wrapped both hands around the cup. "What?" "I planned this gala." Sienna's voice went flat. "The Cole Foundation event. That's my contract. That's the career maker job I've been telling you about for 3 months. The coffee stopped halfway to Maya's lips. "I swear to God, I had no idea. You only ever called him E when you talked about before. I didn't connect it until I saw that invitation last night." Sienna leaned forward, eyes fierce. "I'm pulling out. I'll tank my reputation before I help that man humiliate you." "No." Maya set the cup down. "You've worked too hard. He didn't abuse me, Sienna." The words came quiet but firm. "He just erased me. There's a difference." Silence settled between them, broken only by the radiator's hiss. "Then let me get you in." Sienna pulled her phone out, already scrolling. "As a guest, I have discretionary +1's planner's privilege. You walk in the front door, head high, in a dress that costs more than his conscience. I'm not showing up where I'm not wanted. He invited you to serve drinks. He already decided you'd be there on your knees, in a uniform, being invisible." Sienna's jaw set. "You show up as yourself, beautiful and whole, and you remind him what he threw away. That's not humiliation. That's power." Maya stared at the invitation. In the bedroom down the hall, she heard Zoe's sleepy voice calling for water. "I'll think about it." "Think fast. Gala's tomorrow night." By the time the triplets woke, Maya had made her choice. Liam climbed into her lap while she braided Zoe's hair, his small face serious. "Why Mummy look sad?" Sienna knelt beside him, meeting his eyes. "Your mummy is the strongest, most beautiful woman in the world. And tomorrow night, everyone's going to see it. Even bad people?" Maya's hands stilled. "Who said there are bad people?" Liam shrugged, but his gaze stayed worried. She kissed his forehead. "Auntie Sienna's right. Tomorrow's a good day." Later, while the triplets ate waffles, Sienna sketched plans on a napkin dress, hair, makeup, timing. Maya listened, half present, until the boldest idea crystallized. "I'm bringing them." Sienna's pen stopped. "What?" "Liam, Zoe, Noah. They're part of my life." Maya's voice steadied. "If Ethan wants to mock who I am, he gets all of me." Sienna sat back, studying her. "That's brilliant. And terrifying. You're sure? He needs to see what he walked away from." Sienna's grin came slow. "Then we're dressing all 4 of you to kill." They spent Friday in motion. Sienna pulled a midnight blue dress from a designer contact, simple, elegant, nothing apologetic about it. They found clothes for the triplets at a consignment shop. Liam, in a tiny button-down. Zoe, in a velvet dress she twirled in immediately. Noah, in soft grey slacks and a sweater. "You look fancy," Zoe announced to her reflection. Maya paid at the register, hands shaking slightly. This was real now. That evening, after an extra-long bedtime story, Maya sat on her bedroom floor with a shoebox from the closet's depths. Inside, the pregnancy letters copy, printed photos from 5 years ago. She looked so young in them, hopeful. A selfie at the Common, Ethan's arm around her shoulders. A candid at a coffee shop, her mid-laugh, his eyes on her like she mattered. The letter unfolded in her hands, creases soft from previous readings. "Dear Ethan, I'm writing because I need you to know I'm pregnant. 11 weeks. I know the timing is terrible with everything you're going through, but these babies are ours, and I want to figure this out together. I'm scared, but I'm also hopeful. Please call me. We can do this. Love, Maya." She'd mailed it to his office. Waited 3 weeks. Nothing. Maya refolded the letter, placed it back, closed the box. Tomorrow? She'd show him not with words exactly what he'd abandoned. She whispered to the empty room, "This is for them, not you." The apartment smelled like baby powder and nervous energy. Liam tugged at his bow tie for the 3rd time, and Maya knelt to straighten it again, her hands steadier than she felt. "Why we so fancy, Mommy?" Zoe twirled, her dress flaring around her legs. "Because we're going somewhere special." Maya smoothed the fabric, adjusted the puff of curls framing her daughter's face. "Remember, stay close to Mommy, okay? Use your inside voices." "Ice cream after?" Noah whispered, shy even now. "Ice cream after," Maya promised. The bedroom door opened. Sienna stopped mid-step, one hand flying to her chest. "Maya." The emerald dress caught the light, hugging curves Maya had forgotten she had. The wrap style felt elegant without trying too hard. The color rich against her skin. Her hair was swept into soft twists that framed her face, and the makeup, subtle, glowing, made her eyes impossible to ignore. "I look ridiculous." "You look like you could buy that entire ballroom." Sienna crossed the room, gripped Maya's shoulders. "He's going to lose his mind. I don't care what he—" "Yes, you do. And that's okay." Sienna's voice softened. "You're allowed to want him to see what he threw away. You're allowed to want him to hurt." Maya's reflection stared back from the mirror, regal, terrified. "I can't believe I'm doing this. You've got this." Sienna squeezed once, then stepped back. "Now let's go remind Boston what power looks like." The venue rose against the harbor like something out of a fairy tale. Floor-to-ceiling windows reflected the sunset over the water, and luxury cars formed a slow-moving parade toward the entrance. Women in glittering gowns stepped out onto red carpets. Men in tuxedos laughed, easy and entitled. Maya's stomach twisted. "Mommy, look!" Liam pressed against the car window. "It's a castle." "Not quite, baby." But it felt like one towering and untouchable, and nothing like the world she'd built in her cramped apartment. Sienna bypassed the main entrance, pulling around to a side door marked for staff and vendors. She flashed her planner credentials at security, led them through a service corridor that smelled like fresh flowers and expensive catering. "This way. We'll come in through the gallery entrance, fewer eyes until you're ready." They paused at a set of double doors. Beyond, Maya could hear music, laughter, the crystal-clear clink of champagne glasses. "Last chance to run," Sienna murmured. Maya looked down at her children, Liam's serious eyes, Zoe's excited bounce. Noah tucked against her leg, one hand gripping her dress. "Open the doors." The ballroom stole her breath. Chandeliers dripped light across marble floors. A string quartet played near French windows overlooking the harbor, and everywhere were people who belonged. Women in designer gowns, men with watches that cost more than Maya's annual salary. Waiters circulated with champagne and hors d'oeuvres that probably had French names she couldn't pronounce. And there, near the stage, laughing with a blonde woman whose dress probably cost more than Maya's rent. Ethan. He looked older, sharper. The boy she'd fallen for had been replaced by someone polished and unreachable. His tuxedo fitted perfectly, his posture confident. The blonde touched his arm, said something that made him smile, and Maya's chest tightened, not with longing, with fury at how easy his life looked. "Mummy, pretty lights." Zoe tugged her hand. Maya forced air into her lungs, straightened her spine. "Stay close, babies." She stepped into the ballroom. The effect rippled outward like a stone dropped in still water. One person noticed, then two, then a cluster near the bar, heads turning, whispers starting. A striking black woman in emerald, 3 small children in formal wear, wide-eyed and perfect. Maya walked slowly, deliberately, held Liam and Zoe's hands while Noah pressed against her side. A waiter materialized with champagne. She declined with a gracious smile, requested juice boxes instead. He blinked, nodded, hurried away. More people stared now. She felt their eyes catalogue her dress, her children, her audacity. Near the stage, someone nudged Ethan, pointed. He turned. The world condensed to a single moment. Ethan's eyes found hers across 30 feet of marble and money. His champagne glass froze halfway to his mouth. The blonde Jessica, Maya's brain supplied, followed his gaze, her smile faltering. Maya didn't look away. She held his stare, her face calm, serene even. Let him look, let him see. Then his gaze dropped. To the children, Liam's dimples as he smiled up at his mother, Zoe's eyes, that specific shade of green that had once looked back at Ethan from his own mirror, Noah's delicate features, the nose and mouth that were unmistakably Cole family. The glass slipped from Ethan's hand. It shattered against marble, the sound impossibly loud in the sudden, absolute silence. Ethan's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Across the ballroom, Maya stood perfectly still, her children looking up at her with trust and confusion, and Ethan Cole stared at them like the ground had opened beneath his feet. Maya stood across the room, one hand resting on a small boy's shoulder. She didn't move, didn't flinch. "Mommy, why is everyone quiet?" The little girl's whisper carried in the silence. A waiter materialized with a dustpan. Conversations resumed urgent, hushed, electric with speculation. Ethan's feet moved before his brain caught up, carrying him across the marble floor toward the woman he'd erased from his life. Jessica's hiss followed him. He didn't turn. Up close, Maya was exactly as he remembered and completely transformed. The same warm brown eyes, now guarded. The same graceful neck, now holding her chin higher than he deserved. And the children, 3 pairs of eyes watched him wary, curious, uncertain. "Maya," his voice came out ruined. "Hello, Ethan." Steady, calm, devastating. His gaze dropped to the triplets, and his lungs forgot how to work. The boy on the left had his dimples. The girl had his eyes, that specific green his mother used to call forest glass. The smaller boy had his nose, his mouth, the exact shape of his face at that age. "Are they?" Maya didn't make him finish. "Yes. Meet Liam, Zoe, and Noah, your children." The floor tilted. Ethan's knees went soft, and he crouched, needing to be at their level, needing to see them properly. The older boy stepped forward immediately, placing himself between Ethan and his siblings. That protective instinct, Ethan had done the same thing once, at a playground, defending a smaller kid from bullies. Something in his chest cracked open. "Ethan," the voice came from behind him. Raymond Cole moved past his son without a glance, his focus entirely on the children. The older man's face held wonder, recognition, grief, and joy, all at once. He knelt slowly, ignoring his aging knees. "Oh my God," his voice broke. "You have Catherine's eyes," and Ethan's smile. He looked up at Maya. "I'm Raymond, Ethan's father, and you are." Maya Johnson. She sounded uncertain for the first time. Are these my grandchildren? Maya nodded. Raymond's hand covered his mouth. His shoulders shook. The little girl, Zoe, reached out and touched his sleeve with one small finger. Why are you crying? Raymond laughed, wet and broken. Because I'm happy, sweetheart. So happy. He opened his arms, made himself small and safe. May I hug you? Zoe glanced at Maya. At her mother's nod, all three children leaned in. Raymond gathered them close, holding them like they might disappear, and wept openly. The ballroom had stopped pretending not to watch. Ethan. Jessica materialized at his elbow, fingers tight on his sleeve, voice low and sharp. We need to talk. Now. This is a disaster. Everyone is watching. He looked at her, registered her presence the way you might notice furniture. Maya was already gathering the triplets, smoothing Zoe's dress, checking Noah's face. Leaving. Please. Raymond's voice stopped her. Please don't go. Can we talk? Just for a few minutes. Maya studied him, this stranger, offering kindness without conditions, and something in her expression shifted. She looked at Ethan. Then, back at Raymond. I didn't come to make a scene. I came because your son invited me to serve drinks. I thought he should see what he threw away. Raymond's face changed. He turned to Ethan, confusion and disappointment settling into the lines around his eyes. Maya, you never responded to my letter. You never called, you just vanished. Maya's voice stayed level, but her jaw tightened. She turned to Raymond. I'll talk to you, somewhere private, but not here. Sienna appeared from the crowd, a protective shield in heels, and helped guide Maya and the triplets toward a service corridor. The ballroom erupted into frantic whispers. Jessica stood alone near the stage, fury radiating from her rigid shoulders, and Ethan remained frozen on the marble floor, watching his father follow the family he'd never known existed, the family that looked exactly like him, while he stood paralyzed among strangers who'd witnessed everything. The lounge wrapped them in hushed intimacy velvet chairs, amber lamplight pooling on mahogany tables, the kind of space designed for powerful people to broker deals away from prying eyes. Now it cradled something far more fragile. Maya settled onto the sofa, with the triplets pressed against her sides like small anchors. Zoe's head drooped onto her shoulder. Noah's thumb found his mouth. Liam sat straighter, watching the silver-haired stranger with wary eyes. Raymond chose the chair directly across from them, leaning forward, hands knotted between his knees. His face carried desperate hope and something rawer confusion that bordered on grief. Sienna positioned herself near the door, a sentinel in heels, arms crossed tight enough to hurt. Through the walls came the muffled sounds of the gala, strings and laughter, crystal chiming against crystal, a different universe, one that suddenly felt obscene. Can you tell me what happened? Raymond's voice came soft, careful. Please. I had no idea. Maya drew breath, felt it catch somewhere beneath her ribs. We dated for 8 months, 5 years ago. The words tasted strange after so long buried. It was real, or I thought it was. Then Catherine died, and Ethan just closed, like someone had switched off the lights inside him. Raymond nodded, recognition flickering across his features. 2 months after the funeral, I found out I was pregnant. Maya's hand moved unconsciously to Liam's back, circles against his tiny spine. We'd been careful, but... She shook her head. I wrote him a letter, told him everything, that I was scared but hopeful, that we could figure it out together. Asked him to call, and he didn't. Raymond's words fell heavy as stones. Silence, complete silence. I waited 3 weeks, then called twice. His number was disconnected. Maya's jaw tightened. A month later, I saw him at some tech industry event with her Jessica, looking perfectly fine, smiling for cameras. I realized he'd already moved on, chosen his world, and I wasn't in it. She looked down at the triplets, their sleeping faces peaceful in the lamplight, so I decided to raise them alone. Better that than begging scraps from someone who'd already thrown me away. Raymond's hands moved to cover his face. When he lowered them, his eyes shone wet. He never told me. Not about you. Not any of this. His voice hardened, iron beneath velvet. And that note tonight served drinks. Maya retrieved her phone with her free hand, pulled up the invitation image. Raymond studied it, something terrible shifting behind his eyes. That's not the man I raised. Each word came clipped, precise. That's not Catherine's son. He looked at the triplets again, really looked, and Maya watched decades of longing reshape his face. How old? 3. They turned 3 in August. Raymond went still. The math clicked into place, born during Ethan's darkest months, when grief had hollowed him into someone unrecognizable. After Catherine died, he spiraled, worked himself nearly dead, became someone I barely knew. Raymond's voice dropped. But that doesn't excuse cruelty. Nothing excuses what he did to you. A pause, waited with all the grandparent years he'd lost. Tell me about them, please. Maya softened, the way she always did when talking about her children. Liam's the protector, 2 minutes older, and takes it seriously. He checks on his siblings before himself. She smiled, brushing curls from his forehead. Zoe's my firecracker, bold, curious, never met a stranger. And Noah, her voice gentled further. Noah feels everything, takes time to trust, but when he loves you, it's forever. Raymond absorbed every syllable like communion. Tears carved slow paths down his weathered cheeks. Can I be part of their lives? The question came raw, stripped of pride. Maya hesitated, protective instinct flaring. You're their grandfather, that's biology. But Ethan, she couldn't finish. Didn't need to. He has to earn it, Raymond said. I understand. The knock came soft, 3 taps against mahogany. The door opened. Ethan stood in the threshold, tie pulled loose, looking like something shipwrecked. Jessica was nowhere to be seen. Raymond stood immediately, and his voice carried a chill Maya wouldn't have thought possible from him. You invited her to serve drinks? Her? The mother of your children? Ethan flinched, whole body recoiling. Dad, I didn't know. You didn't know because you didn't care enough to find out. The words landed like a sentencing. Ethan's gaze found Maya, then dropped to the triplets curled against her. His voice shattered. Maya, I swear to God, I never got a letter. I never knew. Maya stood carefully, extracting herself from warm, small bodies without waking them. She faced him across 6 feet of Persian carpet that felt like continents. You broke my heart, Ethan. Quiet, exhausted, final. And then you mocked me for it. Whether you knew about them or not, you made me feel like I was nothing. She bent, gently rousing the triplets. Come on, babies. Time to go home. Ethan moved closer, desperation cracking through his composure. Please, can we talk? Tomorrow, please. Maya looked at him, really looked, seeing both the man who'd made her believe in forever and the one who'd taught her people disappear. Her eyes found Raymond, who nodded, something sad and encouraging in his face. Call Raymond. He'll give you my number. She gathered Noah onto her hip. But if you hurt them, or me, again. She let silence finish the sentence. Sienna materialized, scooping up Zoe while Liam clutched Maya's free hand. The door closed behind them with a whisper. Ethan and Raymond stood in the amber light, gala sounds mocking them through the walls. Raymond turned to his son, and his voice carried the weight of every disappointment he'd swallowed for 4 years. What have you done? Ethan's penthouse stretched cold and hollow around him, glass and chrome and leather surfaces that reflected nothing back. The city glittered beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows, 20 stories of separation between him and the streets below. He sat motionless on the couch, tuxedo pants wrinkled, shirt half unbuttoned. His bow tie lay discarded on the coffee table beside a tumbler of scotch he'd poured and forgotten. The phone felt like a grenade in his palm. Raymond's contact glowed on the screen. His thumb hovered, drew back, hovered again. 3 faces swam through his mind. Small, perfect, unmistakable. Liam, Zoe, and Noah, his children. The words didn't compute, kept sliding away like water through his fingers. He pressed call. Raymond answered before the first ring finished. I'm here. Not hello, not how are you. Just I'm here, a statement that held both presence and judgment. Dad. Ethan's voice cracked on the single syllable. Are you safe? Are you alone? Yes. Both. He swallowed. Jessica left hours ago. I don't. It doesn't matter. Silence stretched between them, dense with everything unsaid. Tell me about the letter, Raymond said finally. Maya mentioned a letter you never answered. Ethan's head dropped into his free hand. I never got it. I swear to God, Dad. I never. The words jammed in his throat. After Mom died, I couldn't. Jessica helped with mail, with everything. She sorted it, handled condolences, kept the vultures away. The implication hung between them, poisonous. You think she intercepted it? I don't know. Maybe. Christ. Ethan stood, paced to the window. His reflection stared back, haggard and unfamiliar. But that doesn't matter, does it? I still walked away from Maya. I still became someone who would write that note. No, Raymond said quietly. It doesn't excuse it, but it explains part of the gap. She was pregnant and alone, and his voice splintered. She was carrying 3 babies, and I disappeared. Yes, the word landed without cushioning. Raymond had never been cruel, but he'd never softened truth either. How do I fix this? Ethan pressed his forehead against the cold glass. How do I even begin? You don't fix it, son. You show up for it. Every day. Whether she forgives you or not. She won't. Maybe not. Raymond's voice gentled slightly. But those children deserve a father who tries. And you deserve the chance to become the man your mother raised. The mention of Catherine broke something loose. Ethan's shoulders shook with silent sobs. They talked for another 40 minutes, Raymond patient, Ethan flailing through guilt and revelation. When they finally hung up, Raymond's parting words echoed, "Call her with humility, not excuses." Ethan stared at Maya's number until the screen blurred. He typed and deleted messages until his fingers cramped. "Maya, I'm sorry doesn't cover it. Delete. I need you to understand. Delete. Please give me a chance to delete." Finally, at 12:36 a.m., he sent the simplest version of his devastation. "Maya, this is Ethan. I know it's late. I'm so sorry for everything. Can we talk tomorrow? I want to hear everything I missed. I want to know them. Please." The message sat there, unread, while the city breathed and shifted below. Across town, Maya lay rigid in her small bed, eyes tracing cracks in the ceiling plaster. The triplets' soft breathing drifted through the thin wall, a rhythm that usually soothed her. Tonight it amplified the silence. Her phone buzzed. She knew without looking who it was. The screen cast blue light across her face as she read his words. "I want to know them." Her thumb hovered over the reply box. What could she possibly say? That she'd spent 3 years building a life he'd never see. That his children asked about fathers when other kids at daycare got picked up by dads in business suits. She turned the phone face down and closed her eyes. Not yet. Not tonight. Tomorrow she'd figure out what came next. Tonight she just needed to breathe. Dawn crept through Maya's kitchen window, pale and tentative. The triplets were already awake, squabbling over the last strawberry Pop-Tart, oblivious to the weight pressing against their mother's chest. Her phone sat on the counter like an accusation. 7:03 a.m. "I understand if you don't want to talk, but please let me meet them properly. I'll do whatever you need. I need to know them." 7:05 a.m. "Raymond gave me this photo." She opened the attachment with shaking hands. The image stole her breath. The triplets clustered around Raymond in the lounge, Zoe's small palm pressed to his weathered cheek, all 3 smiling with the unself-conscious joy of children who'd found someone safe. Raymond's face was transformed, years falling away in the presence of his grandchildren. Maya's vision blurred. She typed slowly, "Not today. I need time. I'll call you." Sent. The phone clattered onto the counter. "Mummy!" Liam appeared at her elbow, syrup on his chin. "Can we see the nice grandpa again?" The question shattered her careful composure. She sank to her knees, pulled all 3 children into her arms, buried her face in Zoe's curls. "Maybe, baby," she whispered. "Maybe." They clung to her, confused but willing, while the future cracked open around them. Monday afternoon, light slanted harsh through Ethan's office windows. The corner suite, that usually made him feel accomplished, glass walls, awards lining the shelves, framed deals marking victories, felt like a fishbowl, everyone watching, everyone whispering. He'd been staring at the same spreadsheet for 3 hours. The numbers meant nothing. His assistant poked her head in for the 5th time. "Mr. Cole, Jonathan Breslin is on line 2 again. He says it's urgent. Tell him I'm unavailable. He's called 4 times today. Then he knows where I stand." She retreated. The glass walls showed her returning to her desk, fielding another call, shaking her head. Word had spread like wildfire through Boston's elite circles: the gala disaster, the mysterious children, Ethan Cole's public meltdown. His phone had been vibrating non-stop since Sunday morning. Colleagues, investors, gossip disguised as concern. He'd ignored every single one. His phone buzzed again. Text message: "Jessica, we need to talk. Today. It's important." He stared at the screen. He'd avoided her since Saturday night, left her standing alone in the ballroom while he chased ghosts. But something in those words, the brevity, the stripped formality, suggested this wasn't about reconciliation. He typed back, "My office, 5 p.m. Jessica arrived at 5 o'clock exactly. Ethan's assistant had left, he'd sent her home early, needed the office empty. Jessica stood in the doorway of his conference room, a study in controlled composure. Tailored navy dress, hair perfect, makeup flawless, but her hands gripped her purse too tightly. "Close the door," Ethan said. She did, sat across from him at the long table, started with safe territory. "We should discuss a statement. The press is circling. If we coordinate our—" "Did you know?" Jessica stopped mid-sentence. "What?" "About Maya." His voice was quiet, deadly. "About the letter." The color drained from her face. "Ethan, did you hide it from me?" Silence. Jessica's throat worked. She looked down at her hands. That was answer enough. "Oh my God." Ethan's whisper cracked. "You did. You were falling apart." The words burst from her. "Your mother had just died. You were barely functional, barely sleeping. I was trying to help manage your life, and this letter shows up from some woman claiming she's pregnant. Her name is Maya. And I read it, and it felt like a trap, like she was trying to take advantage of your grief, your vulnerability." Jessica's voice rose, desperate now. "You don't understand what you were like then. You couldn't handle one more thing. So I made a decision." Ethan stared at her, really looked, saw a stranger. "You kept my children from me. I didn't know if it was real, if the pregnancy was even for 4 years." His voice dropped to a whisper. "You robbed me of their births, their first words, their first steps. You robbed them of a father." He stood slowly. "And you robbed Maya of support when she needed it most." Jessica's eyes filled. "I thought I was protecting you. You were protecting yourself." The truth landed cold and final. "You saw competition. You eliminated it." "That's not—" "We're done." Ethan opened the door. "The engagement is over. I want you out of my life." Jessica shot to her feet. "You're choosing her. Some random woman with 3 kids who could be anyone's. Stop talking." Because she showed up with a sob story. "And they're mine." Ethan's voice cut like steel. "I can see it. Everyone can see it. And she's not random. She was the best thing that ever happened to me, and I was too broken to see it." He pointed to the hallway. "Leave." Jessica's shock curdled into rage. "You'll regret this. I already do. Every day. I didn't know them." She grabbed her purse, stormed past him, stopped at the threshold. "I'll forward you the letter, the one I saved. You can see for yourself what you supposedly missed." The door slammed. Darkness crept across the office. Ethan sat motionless as the city lights blinked on below, as his computer screen dimmed to sleep mode. An email notification chimed. Subject: "What you wanted." From Jessica. No message, just an attachment. His hand trembled on the mouse. The scanned image loaded. Cream stationery. Maya's careful handwriting. He remembered it from old notes she'd left in his apartment. Little messages that made him smile before his world collapsed. "Dear Ethan, I'm writing because I need you to know I'm pregnant. 11 weeks. I know the timing is terrible with everything you're going through, but these babies are ours, and I want to figure this out together. I'm scared, but I'm also hopeful. Please call me. We can do this. Love, Maya." Ethan read it once, twice, 3 times. "These babies are ours. I want to figure this out together. Love, Maya." The sob came from somewhere deep, somewhere he'd locked away since his mother's funeral. His shoulders shook. He pressed his palms against his eyes but couldn't stop the tears, couldn't stop seeing Maya alone and terrified, writing these words while he spiraled in his own grief. Unreachable. "I'm so sorry," he whispered to the empty office. "I'm so sorry." The letter glowed on the screen. Maya's hope, preserved in pixels. And Ethan, 4 years too late, finally answered her. Tuesday morning, sunlight filtered weak through Maya's kitchen window. She'd just walked back from daycare drop-off, her muscles aching from carrying Noah the last 3 blocks when he'd gotten tired. The apartment felt too quiet without the triplets' constant noise. Her phone rang. Raymond's name lit the screen. She stared at it for 2 rings before answering. "Hello?" "Maya." His voice carried that same gentle warmth from Saturday night. "I hope I'm not overstepping. I've been thinking about Liam, Zoe, and Noah non-stop since the gala." Maya sank into a kitchen chair, suddenly exhausted. "They asked about you." "The nice grandpa who cried." Raymond's breath caught audibly. "They did. Zoe wants to know if you'll cry again. Liam wants to know if you have toys at your house." I'll buy 100 toys. Raymond laughed, thick with emotion. Maya, I was wondering, would you and the children like to have lunch with me this weekend, just at my house? Nothing formal. I'd love to spend time with them, if you're comfortable. Maya's throat tightened. She wanted to say yes immediately, which terrified her. She'd built walls for 4 years, and this man was dismantling them with simple kindness. Saturday? Whatever works for you. Okay, Saturday. Lunch. The words came out before she could second-guess them. They talked for 20 minutes. Raymond told her about Catherine, his wife, Ethan's mother, how she'd been a teacher, patient and warm, how she'd always wanted grandchildren, had picked out names for hypothetical babies, kept a box of children's books in the attic just in case. She would have adored them, Raymond said quietly. She would have spoiled them rotten. Maya wiped her eyes. I wish they could have known her. They have her chin, all 3 of them. And Zoe has her fearlessness. He paused. Maya, I need to apologize again for my son's behavior. That note, you didn't write it. No, but I raised him. And he's not who he was Saturday night. He's lost right now, but he's trying to find his way back. Maya said nothing. She didn't know how to respond to gentle advocacy for a man who'd shredded her heart. After they hung up, she stared at her phone. Ethan's unanswered texts sat in her messages like landmines. She typed carefully. I'll think about letting you meet them properly, but you need to understand I don't owe you anything. They don't owe you anything. If you want to be in their lives, you earn it. His response came before she'd set the phone down. I will, however long it takes. Thank you. The week crawled forward in fragments. Wednesday, Ethan sat in a therapist's office in Cambridge, a small, comfortable room that smelled like lavender. Dr. Patricia Chen watched him with calm, assessing eyes as he explained about his mother's death, the shutdown that followed, the cruelty he'd shown Maya. You're describing someone who responded to grief by severing emotional connections, Dr. Chen said. That's protective, but ultimately destructive. I destroyed everything that mattered. You made terrible choices. That's different from being irredeemable. She leaned forward. The question is, who do you want to become? Thursday, Ethan met with Margaret Fitzpatrick, a family lawyer recommended by Raymond. Her office was practical, lined with legal texts and family photos. She didn't sugarcoat. You have legal rights as a biological father, Margaret said, sliding papers across her desk. But any judge will ask why the mother should trust you after you publicly humiliated her. If you want custody, or even consistent visitation, you need to prove you're stable, committed, and remorseful. I am remorseful, then show it. Through action, not words. She tapped the papers. You can't lawyer your way into your children's lives, Mr. Cole. You have to earn your way in. Friday evening, Maya sat cross-legged on her living room floor while the triplets played with blocks. Sienna sprawled on the couch, watching. You're really taking them to Raymond's house? Sienna asked. He's their grandfather. And Ethan? Maya stacked a block carefully. I don't know yet. Liam looked up from his tower. Mommy, is the sad man our daddy? Maya's hands stilled. She'd known this question was coming, had rehearsed answers in her head for days. Nothing sounded right. She gathered Liam onto her lap, beckoned Zoe and Noah close. He might be. We're going to get to know him first, okay? Just like we're getting to know Grandpa Raymond. Will he cry too? Zoe asked. Maybe. Why does everyone cry about us? Noah's small face crumpled with worry. Maya kissed his forehead. Because they're happy tears, baby. People cry when they're really, really happy. Sienna's expression softened despite her skepticism. Saturday morning arrived cold and bright. Maya dressed the triplets in comfortable clothes, no formal outfits this time, just jeans and sweaters. They bounced with excitement, asking endless questions about Grandpa Raymond's house. Maya caught her reflection in the hallway mirror. Jeans, a soft blue sweater, her hair in a simple ponytail. She looked tired. She looked like herself. Ready? She called. The triplets piled into her Honda, buckled into their car seats. Maya started the engine and pulled onto the street, heading toward Raymond's suburb. In the rearview mirror, Liam, Zoe, and Noah chattered and laughed, their faces bright with innocent anticipation. This is for them, Maya thought, gripping the steering wheel. Whatever happens next, I'm doing this for them. Saturday, 11:30 a.m. Raymond's house rose before them, like something from a storybook, creamy white colonial with black shutters, flower boxes still holding late-season mums, a tire swing hanging from the massive oak dominating the front yard. Maya cut the engine and watched the triplets press their faces against the windows. "Big house," Liam observed, voice hushed with something like reverence. "There's a swing." Zoe was already fighting with her car seat buckle. The front door opened before Maya could gather her courage. Raymond appeared, broad smile splitting his face, wearing jeans and a navy sweater, under an apron that proclaimed, "World's Best Grandpa," in cheerful yellow letters. The apron was so new the fold lines were still visible. Maya's throat tightened. Raymond met them halfway up the walk, dropping to one knee on the flagstone path. "There are my grandchildren," he said, voice thick. "I've been waiting all week to see you again." Zoe launched herself forward without hesitation, wrapping small arms around his neck. "You smell like cookies." Raymond's laugh was pure joy. "That's because I've been baking. Do you like chocolate chip?" "Yes," Zoe bounced. "Mommy makes those sometimes, but they get burned on the bottom." "Zoe," Maya warned, but Raymond was already chuckling. Liam approached more carefully, stopping just out of reach. "Are those real flowers?" He pointed to the window boxes. "They are. My wife Catherine planted those boxes 15 years ago. I keep them going for her." Raymond's smile went gentle. "Would you like to help me plant bulbs for spring later? Tulips and daffodils?" Liam considered this seriously. "What color?" "Whatever colors you three want. We'll go to the garden center together." Noah remained plastered to Maya's leg, but his eyes were locked on Raymond with fierce concentration. Raymond noticed but didn't push. Instead, he reached into his apron pocket and withdrew 3 small stuffed animals, a lion, a rabbit, and a dinosaur. Nothing elaborate or expensive, the kind you'd find at a good toy store. Chosen with thought. "I wasn't sure what you'd like," he said, holding them out. "But I thought maybe." Zoe grabbed the rabbit immediately. Liam's eyes went wide at the dinosaur, a stegosaurus, Maya noted. His current favorite. He took it carefully, like it might break. "Thank you," Liam whispered. Raymond held the lion out toward Noah, who remained frozen. Raymond simply set it on the ground between them. "That one's for you, Noah, whenever you're ready." Inside, the house wrapped around them like a warm blanket. The entryway opened to a living room filled with comfortable furniture, built-in bookshelves, framed photos covering every surface. The smell of baking cookies was almost overwhelming. "That's Grandma Catherine," Raymond said softly, pointing to a large portrait over the fireplace. A woman with kind eyes, and Ethan's smile looked out at them, frozen in her late 50s, wearing a blue dress and pearls. "She's pretty," Zoe announced. "Where is she?" Maya tensed, but Raymond handled it with grace. "She died a few years ago, sweetheart, but she would have loved you so much, all 3 of you." "Did she go to heaven?" Liam asked. "I think so. I hope so." Noah finally spoke, voice barely audible. "Does it hurt? Heaven?" Raymond's eyes found Maya's, seeking permission. She nodded slightly. "No, buddy. Heaven doesn't hurt. It's where people go when their bodies stop working, and they're not sad or sick anymore." He crouched again. "Your grandma got very sick very fast, and we didn't get to say goodbye. But I talk to her sometimes still. I tell her about my day." Noah absorbed this, then carefully picked up the stuffed lion from where Raymond had left it. He clutched it to his chest but didn't move closer. Progress. Raymond showed them the kitchen's sunny yellow walls, white cabinets, a round table set with colorful plates. Then upstairs, where he paused at a door Maya hadn't expected. "I did something this week," he said, suddenly uncertain. "If it's too much, just say so." He opened the door to reveal a small bedroom transformed into a playroom. Nothing extravagant, a bookshelf with new picture books, a basket of building blocks, a small table with crayons and paper, a soft rug patterned with roads for toy cars. A few framed photos on the wall. The triplets at the gala with Raymond, obviously printed from his phone. "Just in case you ever want to visit and need a place to play," Raymond said quietly. "Or if you ever want to stay over. No pressure, just hoping." Maya's vision blurred. This man had known his grandchildren existed for less than a week, and he'd already made space for them in his home, his heart, his life. "Can we play now?" Zoe was already investigating the blocks. "After lunch," Maya managed. But yes, the following Saturday arrived too quickly and not fast enough. Maya gripped the steering wheel as Raymond's house came into view, her pulse kicking when she spotted the sleek silver sedan already parked in the driveway. The luxury vehicle gleamed against the suburban backdrop, polished, expensive, utterly out of place. "Whose car, Mummy?" Liam leaned forward against his straps. Maya's mouth went dry. The word felt dangerous, foreign, like something that might shatter if spoken aloud. That might be your daddy's car." Silence filled the Honda. Even Zoe went quiet. Inside, Ethan moved around Raymond's kitchen table, placing napkins with the precision of a man desperate for something useful to do. His hands trembled slightly, jeans instead of tailored slacks, a soft blue button-down instead of the crisp whites he favored for work. He'd changed shirts 3 times that morning. "They're here," Raymond's voice carried from the living room window. Ethan's stomach dropped. He'd rehearsed this, practiced what to say, how to stand, where to put his hands so he wouldn't look threatening. Now, every prepared word evaporated. The front door opened, small feet on hardwood. Then Maya appeared in the kitchen doorway, one hand resting on Liam's shoulder, the triplets arranged before her like a shield. Ethan couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Raymond knelt smoothly, bringing himself to the children's level. "Hey guys, remember me?" "Grandpa," Zoe's face lit up. "That's right, and this is my son, Ethan. He wanted to meet you." 3 pairs of eyes swiveled toward the stranger in their grandfather's kitchen. Ethan forced himself to kneel as well, bringing his face level with theirs. Too fast, Liam tensed, shifted protectively in front of Noah. "Hi," Ethan's voice cracked. "I've been waiting to meet you." Zoe tilted her head, studying him with unnerving directness. Then she marched right up to him, stopping inches away. "Are you our daddy?" The question punched the air from his lungs. Tears blurred his vision before he could stop them. "Yes," the word came out broken. "I am, and I'm so sorry I wasn't here before." "Why?" Such a simple question, such impossible weight behind it. Ethan glanced at Maya. Her face remained carefully neutral, no help offered, no rescue coming. This was his to answer. "Because I made a mistake. A big one." He swallowed hard. "I didn't know about you, but I should have. I should have been there for your mummy. And I wasn't." His voice dropped to barely above a whisper. "I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to make that right." Zoe processed this with the solemn consideration of someone weighing a business proposal. Then she nodded once and returned to her brothers. Liam's jaw remained set, skeptical. Noah wouldn't meet Ethan's eyes at all. Lunch stretched like taffy, awkward, uncomfortable, punctuated by Ethan's over-eager attempts at conversation. "Do you like toys? I can get you anything you want. Video games? A swing set? Maybe a—" "Ethan." Raymond's gentle interruption cut through the nervous chatter. "Just be with them." After sandwiches and Raymond's cookies, the older man suggested the backyard. Ethan stood too quickly. Could I come?" Maya's hesitation lasted 3 heartbeats. Then she nodded. Outside, Ethan popped his trunk and emerged with shopping bags full of expensive remote-control cars. Sleek, complicated, meant for older children. The triplets glanced at them, politely curious. Then Zoe pointed at the tire swing. "Push me." The cars sat forgotten in the grass. Ethan pushed, chased, let Zoe climb his back while he crawled across the lawn like a monster, caught Liam when the boy launched himself from the swing. Gradually, so gradually, they began to laugh. Real laughs, not forced. Liam's skepticism softened when Ethan tickled him. Even Noah watched from a safe distance, curiosity replacing fear. From the porch, Maya stood beside Raymond, arms crossed, her heart doing something complicated in her chest. "He's trying," Raymond murmured. "One afternoon doesn't erase 4 years." "No, but it's a start." At 4 o'clock, Maya called the kids inside. Ethan followed slowly, grass-stained and breathless, looking more alive than he had in years. While the triplets said goodbye to Raymond in the living room, Ethan approached Maya in the driveway. His hair was disheveled, tie-dyed with sweat and exertion. "Thank you," the words came rough, "for letting me meet them, really meet them." Maya's nod was stiff. "This doesn't fix anything, I know." He shifted his weight, suddenly uncertain again. "Can I see them again? Maybe just the 4 of us?" He rushed ahead before she could refuse. "Somewhere fun, the park, the aquarium, whatever you think is appropriate." She studied him, searching his face for calculation or performance. Found only raw desperation. "One outing. Next Saturday. The Children's Museum." Her voice hardened. "I'll be there the whole time. Of course. Whatever you need." Minutes later, Ethan stood in the driveway beside his father, watching Maya's Honda disappear around the corner. Raymond's hand landed on his shoulder. "You did good today. Keep showing up." "I will." Ethan's whisper carried the weight of a vow. "I swear I will." In her rearview mirror, Maya caught one last glimpse of him standing alone on the pavement, looking lost and determined in equal measure. Her hands tightened on the wheel. Could people really change? Or was she setting herself up for another devastation, this time with 3 small hearts in the crossfire? She didn't know, but she'd agreed to next Saturday. That had to mean something. Saturday morning arrived bright and cool, the kind of crisp October day that made Boston glow. Maya stood outside the New England Aquarium's entrance, the triplets bouncing with barely contained energy. Zoe clutched her hand, chattering about whether they'd see sharks. Liam stood closer than usual, protective instincts on alert. Noah gripped his favorite stuffed dinosaur like a talisman. Then Ethan appeared, emerging from the parking garage with a navy backpack slung over one shoulder. He walked with purpose, but his expression carried uncertainty, a man approaching something precious and fragile. "Hi!" Zoe broke free and rushed forward. Maya's heart lurched, but Ethan just crouched, letting Zoe crash into him with a hug that nearly toppled him backward. "Hey, Zoe," his voice caught. "Ready to see some fish?" "So many fish." Zoe threw her arms wide. Liam offered a tentative wave. Noah stayed pressed against Maya's leg, peeking out. Ethan didn't push, just smiled at them both and straightened, meeting Maya's gaze with something that looked like gratitude. "Morning." He adjusted the backpack straps. "I, brought snacks, juice boxes, some wipes. Wasn't sure what you'd need." Maya blinked. "You brought supplies?" "YouTube." A self-deprecating shrug. Turns out there are entire channels about toddler outings. Despite herself, something in Maya's chest loosened. "Let's go inside." The aquarium pulsed with weekend crowds, families clustered around illuminated tanks, children shrieking with delight. The triplets pressed their faces to the glass immediately, mesmerized by schools of tropical fish that swirled like living rainbows. "Look! Look!" Zoe pointed at a sea turtle gliding past. "He's flying." Ethan knelt beside her. Sea turtles can hold their breath for hours. They're like underwater superheroes. "Superheroes," Zoe repeated reverently. Maya hung back, watching Ethan navigate this world he'd never known. He moved carefully, glancing at her for permission before lifting Noah to see over the crowd at the penguin exhibit. Noah's eyes went wide as a penguin dove past the glass, and his small hand gripped Ethan's shirt without thinking. Ethan's expression transformed pure wonder, mixed with something that looked like grief. At the giant ocean tank, they stood in a line. Maya, Liam, Zoe, Noah in Ethan's arms, Ethan at the end. The cylindrical aquarium rose 2 stories, sharks and rays gliding through blue-green water like ghosts. "Wow," Liam breathed. An older woman passing smiled at them. "Beautiful family." Maya's shoulders tensed. "Thank you," Ethan said softly. He didn't elaborate, didn't correct the assumption, just stood there with Noah's weight against his chest, staring at the sharks like they held answers. Maya's throat tightened. Lunch at the aquarium cafe brought the first crisis. Noah, exhausted and overstimulated, knocked his juice box sideways. Purple liquid flooded across the table and down his shirt. His face crumpled, tears gathering. "Oh, baby." Maya reached for napkins, but Ethan moved faster, already kneeling with his backpack open. He pulled out wipes, cleaned the table with quick efficiency, then gently lifted Noah's arms. "Hey, it's okay. Accidents happen." His voice stayed calm, soothing. "Let's get you cleaned up, yeah?" Noah hiccuped, watching Ethan work. From the backpack came a spare shirt, oversized, clearly meant for emergencies. "This might be a little big," Ethan said, pulling it over Noah's head. "But it's dry." The shirt hung to Noah's knees. Liam giggled. Zoe announced, "You look like a ghost." Noah's tears stopped. He looked down at himself, then up at Ethan with something like trust dawning in his eyes. And then he leaned forward, resting his forehead against Ethan's shoulder. Ethan went completely still, his eyes closed, one hand coming up to cradle Noah's back with a gentleness that made Maya's vision blur. At the touch tank, Liam's small fingers traced a sea star's bumpy surface. He glanced up at Ethan, considering. "Do you live with Grandpa?" Ethan shook his head. "No, I have my own place." "Oh," Liam processed this. "Do you live with us?" The question hung in the salt-tinged air. Maya felt every parent nearby disappear, the world narrowing to just this moment. Ethan met Maya's gaze briefly, asking permission, seeking guidance, then looked back at Liam. No, buddy, I don't, but I'd really like to spend more time with you, if that's okay. Liam's face scrunched in thought. Then he nodded, solemn as a judge. Okay. Outside at 3 o'clock, the triplets drooped with exhaustion. Zoe leaned against Maya's legs. Liam yawned. Noah's eyes were half closed. Ethan helped buckle them into car seats. His movements competent now, each strap checked twice, each child settled carefully. Before Maya could close the door, he spoke. Maya, can we talk? Just the two of us? His voice dropped. There's so much I need to say. Her hand gripped the doorframe. Not yet. I'm not ready. His face fell, but he nodded. Whenever you are, I'll wait. Then, hesitant, can I text you? About them? Just to check in? She studied him, this man who destroyed her, now standing in a parking garage asking for crumbs. Once a day. Updates only. Deal. Relief flooded his features. As she drove away, the rearview mirror caught him waving. The triplets waved back, sleepy hands lifting. Daddy's nice, Zoe murmured, eyes already closing. The word hit Maya like a fist. That night, her phone buzzed after the triplets were asleep. Ethan, thank you for today. Noah fell asleep on my shoulder, and it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Sleep well. Maya stared at the screen, something warm and terrifying unfurling in her chest. Another text appeared, Raymond this time. Raymond, how did it go? Maya, better than I expected. Raymond, he's trying, isn't he? Maya, yeah, he is. She looked back at Ethan's message. Her thumb hovered over the keyboard, words forming and dissolving. Finally, she set the phone down without responding. But the smile stayed. Maya wiped marinara sauce off Noah's cheek, while Zoe launched into a dramatic retelling of her daycare finger-painting triumph. Liam ate methodically, eyes serious. The dinner chaos felt normal, safe, until her phone rang. Ethan's name on the screen still made her stomach tighten. Hey! She tucked the phone between shoulder and ear, reaching for Zoe's tipping cup. Bad time? Always a bad time around dinner. She caught the cup. What's up? Saturday. Could I take them to the park? Couple hours. You can stay. Or, I'll stay. Okay, good. Relief flooded his voice. I'll bring coffee. Saturday afternoon, Jamaica Pond Park. Ethan pushed Zoe on the swing, while Liam and Noah built elaborate stick fortresses. Maya sat on a bench, hands wrapped around the coffee he'd brought, cream. No sugar. Exactly right. That he remembered after 5 years shouldn't have mattered. It mattered. Hiya, Daddy, Zoe shrieked. The word still landed like a punch every time. Ethan laughed, obliged. A mom at the next swing smiled at him. How old? 3. Triplets, actually. The woman's eyes widened. Wow, you've got your hands full. Best kind of full. He caught Maya watching, smiled tentatively. She looked away, heart doing complicated things. Later, back at Ethan's penthouse for the first time, the triplets stood frozen in the doorway, intimidated by marble floors and white furniture. Everything gleamed, untouchable. Can we play? Liam whispered. Ethan knelt. Of course, but Noah shook his head. Too fancy. Maya watched something break across Ethan's face. He surveyed his carefully curated space, saw it through their eyes, found it wanting. You're right. It is too fancy. He looked at Maya. I'm going to fix that. By the following week, he had toys in baskets, foam corners on tables, a whole area with books and blocks and stuffed animals. The space breathed differently. Tuesday night. Maya's phone lit up. Photo of a T-Rex plushie. Liam mentioned he likes these. Can I get it? Or is that overstepping? Her fingers hovered. He'd love it. But Ethan, you don't have to buy their affection. I know. I just want them to know I'm thinking about them. She stared at the words, set the phone down, picked it up again, left it alone. The pumpkin patch was Zoe's idea, delivered via Ethan to Maya. Somehow they ended up there, all 5 of them, navigating corn mazes, hauling orange globes, sticky with cider. Normal. Dangerously normal. Family photo? A roaming photographer appeared. Beautiful day for it. The triplets cheered. Maya's throat closed. They arranged themselves, triplets front, Maya and Ethan flanking, careful distance between. The shutter clicked. Captured, something half real. Ethan texted it later. Maya saved it in a folder she told herself she'd delete. She didn't delete it. Sunday night. Tucking Zoe in. Mommy, do you like Daddy? Maya's hands stilled on the blanket. Why, baby? He's nice. Makes you smile sometimes. Daddy's trying very hard. But do you like him? Maya kissed her forehead, evading. Sleep now. After, alone in darkness, her phone glowed. I'm seeing a therapist. Working through things. Want to be better for them and for you. If you'll let me. Her chest ached. Fingers moved before thought could stop them. That's good. I'm glad. Thank you for this chance. I won't waste it. She read it 3 times. Didn't answer. Didn't need to. Mid-November brought rain that turned Boston grey and cold. Maya pulled her coat tighter as she approached the cafe, a small place in Cambridge, halfway between her world and Ethan's. Neutral ground. Through the window, she spotted him at a corner table. 2 coffee cups waited. He stood when she entered, hand half raised toward her chair, before he caught himself, uncertain. Thank you for meeting me. His voice carried an edge she'd never heard before. Fear. I know you didn't have to. Maya slid into her seat, wrapped her fingers around the warm cup. Cream, no sugar, he'd remembered. Ethan sat, ran a hand through his hair. The gesture made him look younger, vulnerable. There's something I need to tell you. Something I should have told you weeks ago, but I was afraid. Her stomach dropped. What? He pulled out his phone, hands unsteady. Jessica, my ex-fiancée. His throat worked. She intercepted your letter. 4 years ago. The one about the pregnancy. The cafe noise faded to static. What? Ethan turned the screen toward her. A scanned image filled it her own handwriting, slightly shaky, the words she'd labored over at her kitchen table, while morning sickness churned her stomach. Dear Ethan, I'm writing because I need you to know I'm pregnant. 11 weeks. I know the timing is terrible with everything you're going through, but these babies are ours, and I want to figure this out together. I'm scared, but I'm also hopeful. Please call me. We can do this. Love, Maya. The date stamp glowed in the corner. November 2020. You never saw this? She barely recognized her own voice. Not until 3 weeks ago. Tears slipped down his face, unchecked. Jessica admitted it the Monday after the gala. She was handling my correspondence after my mom died, and when your letter came, she decided I couldn't handle it. Hid it. Never told me. Maya's hands shook so violently she had to set down her coffee. 4 years. 4 years of believing he'd read these words and chosen silence. 4 years of carrying that rejection like a stone in her chest. I ended things with her immediately, Ethan continued. She tried to justify it, said she was protecting me, that she thought you might be lying. Lying? The word came out sharp. I know. There's no excuse. He leaned forward, desperate. Maya, you were worth everything. And I lost you because I was too broken to pay attention, because I trusted the wrong person, because I failed. She read her own words again, remembered writing them. The hope, the terror, the love she'd felt for him, even then, even knowing he was drowning in grief. But another memory surfaced, colder. That doesn't change what you wrote on that invitation. She looked up, met his eyes. Serve drinks. You knew who I was, even if you didn't know about the babies. You mocked me. Ethan flinched like she'd struck him. I know. That was I have no excuse. I was bitter, stupid, cruel. I convinced myself you'd ghosted me after my mum died, when really I'd just shut everyone out. His voice dropped to a whisper. I'm so sorry, Maya, for all of it. The cafe hummed around them. Someone laughed at the counter. Rain streaked the windows. Tell me about your mum. The words surprised her. Ethan blinked. What? You never talked about her. Not really. Even when we were together. Maya wrapped both hands around her cup. Tell me what happened. So he did. Haltingly at first, then in a rush how Catherine had collapsed at the grocery store. The aneurysm so sudden the doctors said she was gone before the ambulance arrived. How he'd been in a meeting, hadn't answered when his dad called, had missed her last moments by 20 minutes, how guilt and grief had swallowed him whole, how he'd pushed everyone away, built walls so high he couldn't see over them anymore. You tried to be there for me, he said, and I shut you out. I'm so sorry. Maya's throat ached. I was pregnant 3 months later, terrified, alone. She watched his face crumple. The morning sickness was so bad I could barely work. I had complications, high blood pressure, pre-eclampsia. They took the babies at 34 weeks. Emergency C-section. I woke up alone in recovery, not knowing if they'd survived. Jesus! Ethan's voice broke completely. £3 each. The NICU nurses became my family. Sienna slept in a chair beside me most nights. She met his eyes. I needed you, and you were gone. I almost lost all of you. He covered his face with his hands. Without ever knowing you existed, they sat in the wreckage of it all, the pain, the missed chances, the cruel twist of fate that had kept a simple letter from reaching its destination. Finally, Ethan lowered his hands. Can you ever forgive me? Not now, but someday? Maya studied him. The expensive haircut couldn't hide the exhaustion in his face, the genuine anguish. This wasn't the cold man from the gala. This wasn't even the charming investor she'd fallen for 5 years ago. This was someone broken, trying to rebuild. I don't know yet, she said quietly, but I'm starting to understand. Late November dressed Boston in skeletal trees and early darkness. Maya stood at Raymond's kitchen counter, peeling potatoes while rain tapped against the windows. Through the glass door, she watched Ethan chase the triplets around the backyard, all 4 of them soaked, laughing, completely unconcerned with the cold drizzle. Zoe shrieked as Ethan scooped her up, spinning until they both stumbled. Liam tackled his father's legs. Noah hung back, then ran in for his own turn. He's good with them now. Maya glanced at Raymond, who'd appeared beside her with a bowl of green beans. He's trying. More than trying. Raymond's voice was gentle. He's present. Maya returned to the potatoes, uncomfortable with where this might lead. Raymond dried his hands. Maya, I've been meaning to ask, do you have plans for Thanksgiving? The peeler stilled in her grip. We usually keep it simple. Just us. Sometimes Sienna. Would you consider spending it here? He spoke carefully, reading her tension. With us? I'd love to have the children. And you, of course. Ethan will be here, but no pressure. Just family. The word landed heavy. Family. I don't know if we're ready for that. You don't have to decide now. Raymond squeezed her shoulder. Just think about it. That evening, Maya sat cross-legged on Sienna's couch, while her best friend paced, wine glass in hand. Thanksgiving at his dad's house? That's a big step. I know. Like, meet the parents big. Except you already met him, and you've got his grandkids, so the whole thing's backwards. Sienna flopped into the armchair. What do you want to do? Maya pulled a throw pillow into her lap. The kids would love it. Raymond's been so good to them. That's not what I asked. I don't know what I want. Maya's voice dropped. Every time I think I've got my walls up, Ethan does something that makes me remember why I fell for him in the first place. Sienna's expression softened. Then maybe it's time to stop fighting so hard. Monday morning, Maya sent the text before she could overthink it. Will come. What can I bring? Raymond's response arrived instantly. Just yourselves. That's all I need. The week blurred extra shifts at the community center, helping coordinate emergency food distributions. Her phone became a lifeline to another world. Ethan's daily texts, photos of things that made him think of the triplets. A playground dinosaur for Liam, star-shaped cookies for Zoe, a quiet library corner for Noah. Then, Wednesday evening, something shifted. Can I pick you up tomorrow? Drive you all to Dad's? Easier than 2 cars. Maya stared at the message. Driving together felt different, intentional, couple-like, but also practical. She typed quickly before doubt crept in. Okay, 9 a.m.? I'll be there. Thanksgiving morning arrived cold and bright. Maya checked her reflection one last time, burgundy dress, natural hair framing her face, nervous energy thrumming beneath her skin. The knock came precisely at 9. Ethan stood in her doorway, and something in his expression stole her breath. Not the polished confidence she remembered from 5 years ago, but something rawer, vulnerable. You look beautiful. Heat crept up her neck. Thanks. The triplets thundered past, launching themselves at Ethan's legs. He caught them, laughing, and Maya's heart did something complicated. The drive filled with Zoe's non-stop commentary about turkeys and pie. Liam asked 17 questions about football. Noah dozed against his car seat. Content. Maya watched the city give way to suburbs, hyper-aware of Ethan beside her, the familiar shape of his hands on the wheel, the small smile when Zoe said something absurd. Daddy? Zoe's voice cut through the comfortable silence. Yeah, sweetheart? Are we a family now? Ethan's hands tightened on the wheel. Maya's breath caught. She turned to meet her daughter's curious gaze. We're figuring that out, baby. Ethan glanced at Maya, something hopeful and terrified in his eyes. But we're together today. That's what matters. Not an answer, not a promise. But maybe, Maya thought as Raymond's house appeared ahead, the older man already on the porch, beaming. Maybe it was enough. For now, Raymond's house glowed like something from a holiday card. Maya stood on the porch Thursday morning, the triplets bouncing beside her, while Ethan retrieved a casserole dish from his trunk. Through the windows, she saw candles flickering, autumn garlands draped along the mantel, a fire already crackling. The door swung open before they knocked. "You're here." Raymond's face split with joy. He wore an apron over his button-down, flour dusting one sleeve. "Come in. Come in. It's freezing." The house smelled like heaven, roasting turkey, cinnamon, something sweet baking. Zoe gasped, darting inside. "Grandpa, you have a kids' table." Sure enough, a small table sat near the fireplace, set with colorful plates and cups. Board games were stacked nearby, Candyland, Chutes and Ladders. A basket overflowed with picture books. "I thought you might like your own special spot." Raymond knelt, accepting hugs from all three children. "But first, who wants to help me check on the pies?" They thundered toward the kitchen. Maya stood in the entryway, throat tight. Ethan touched her elbow. "You okay?" "It's just a lot." "Too much?" She shook her head, unable to explain that the warmth, the welcome, the sheer effort Raymond had poured into this, it threatened to undo her completely. "It's perfect." Maya insisted on helping with dinner. Raymond protested half-heartedly before handing her a cutting board and vegetables. "You're a guest." "I'm not really a guest anymore, am I?" Their eyes met. Raymond smiled, passed her a knife. From the living room came crashes and shrieks. Ethan's voice rose above the chaos. "Okay, who wants to build the tallest tower in Boston?" Maya worked beside Raymond in comfortable silence, listening to Ethan negotiate disputes over blocks, narrate dinosaur battles, read "The Very Hungry Caterpillar" in exaggerated voices that sent the triplets into hysterics. "He's good at this now," Raymond said quietly. "Better than I expected. Better than he expected, too." Raymond set down his peeler. "He calls me most nights, you know. Asks questions. What do 3-year-olds eat? How do you handle tantrums? Did I ever doubt myself as a father? He's terrified of failing them." Maya's chest ached. "He should be. He already missed 3 years." "I know." Raymond's voice gentled. "But he's here now. That counts for something." Before she could respond, Ethan appeared in the doorway, Noah clinging to his back, Liam and Zoe attached to his legs. "We've been captured," he announced solemnly. "The mighty dragons have defeated me," Zoe roared. Noah giggled into Ethan's shoulder. "Save me, Grandpa." Raymond dried his hands, grinning. "Sorry, son. You're on your own." Ethan met Maya's eyes across the kitchen. Something passed between them, fragile, tentative. Recognition that this moment, this ordinary holiday chaos, was what she'd wanted 4 years ago, what she'd begged for in that letter. He looked away first, spinning with the children, until they all collapsed, breathless. Dinner was loud and messy and beautiful. Raymond sat at the head of the long table, Maya and the triplets on one side, Ethan across from them. The kids' table sat abandoned. They'd insisted on sitting with the grown-ups. "Let's say grace." Raymond extended his hands. The triplets grabbed on eagerly. Maya hesitated, then placed her hand in Raymond's weathered palm. Ethan's fingers were warm when they closed around hers. "Dear Lord, thank you for this food, this home, and most of all, for bringing our family together. Bless Maya for her strength and grace. Bless these precious children, and help us always remember that love is a choice we make every single day. Amen." "Amen," the triplets chorused. Maya blinked hard, fighting tears. Conversation flowed easily. Raymond told stories about Thanksgivings past, about Catherine's terrible stuffing and her insistence on making everything from scratch. Ethan shared memories of childhood disasters, the year he knocked over the gravy boat, the time he ate so much pie he threw up. The triplets were entranced, sticky-fingered and bright-eyed. Liam pointed at Ethan. "You threw up? Everywhere. Gross." But he was grinning, delighted by this glimpse of his father as a child. Maya watched Ethan across the table, relaxed, laughing, fully present, and remembered the man she'd fallen for 5 years ago, before grief hollowed him out, before pride and fear drove them apart. He caught her staring, held her gaze. Neither looked away. The triplets crashed hard after dinner, curling against Raymond on the couch while he read Where the Wild Things Are. Maya and Ethan tackled the dishes, moving around each other in the kitchen's warm light. Ethan washed, Maya dried. Their hands brushed, passing a plate. Both froze, neither pulled away immediately. Ethan's thumb grazed her knuckles, accidental or intentional. Maya couldn't tell. "This was really nice," she whispered. "Thank you. Thank you for being here." The moment stretched. Then Maya stepped back, reaching for another dish. Sienna arrived at 5 with wine and pumpkin cheesecake, hugging Maya hard. "You surviving?" "More than surviving." They settled in the living room, fire crackling, soft music playing. The triplets were napping upstairs. Raymond poured wine. Conversation drifted, easy and warm. Then footsteps on the stairs. Noah appeared, rubbing his eyes, hair sticking up. He surveyed the room, then walked directly to Ethan, climbed into his lap without hesitation. Ethan's arms came around him automatically. Noah burrowed against his chest. "Daddy?" Ethan's voice cracked. "Yeah. Buddy. Love you." The room went silent. Ethan's eyes filled. He pressed his face into Noah's hair. "I love you too. So much." Liam and Zoe tumbled down the stairs moments later, joining the pile in Ethan's lap. "We love you too, Daddy," Zoe announced. Maya's tears came fast and hard. Sienna squeezed her hand. Raymond's shoulders shook. Ethan held all 3 children, whispering promises Maya couldn't quite hear. Maya's phone buzzed against her desk Monday morning. Once, twice, 3 times, in rapid succession. She finished typing an email to a client family before glancing at the screen. 3 texts from Sienna, 2 from Raymond, 4 from numbers she didn't recognize. Her stomach dropped. Sienna's preview glowed on the lock screen. "Maya, don't freak out, but you need to see this. Call me now." Below it, a link. Maya's hands went cold. She unlocked the phone with shaking fingers. The headline punched her in the chest. "Tech Bros Secret Babies. Gold Digger X cashes in." "No." She clicked. The article loaded in stuttering fragments, photos first. Her in the emerald dress, triplets at her side, frozen in the ballroom's crystalline light. Another shot from the pumpkin patch, all 5 of them arranged awkwardly for the camera, looking almost like a family. Someone had sold these. Someone had watched them building something fragile and decided to burn it down. The text was worse. Sources close to Cole confirmed that Maya Johnson, 27, deliberately concealed the children's existence for 4 years before orchestrating a public ambush at his charity gala. Witnesses describe her arrival as calculated and humiliating, forcing Cole to acknowledge paternity in front of Boston's elite. Insiders suggest Johnson is now pursuing financial support, having rejected Cole's initial outreach. Maya couldn't breathe. She scrolled to the comments. Hundreds already. Gold digger. Obvious trap. She probably poked holes in the condoms. Look at her, she knew exactly what she was doing. Those kids could be anyone's. Make him get a DNA test. Some defenders pushed back, but their voices drowned beneath the tide of viciousness. "Maya?" Her boss stood in the doorway, face creased with concern. Diana was kind, understanding, but her next words landed like stones. "I saw the article. I'm so sorry this is happening." She hesitated. "But I need to ask you to take a few days off, just until things settle. We can't have this kind of attention on the center right now." Maya nodded mechanically. She gathered her coat, her bag, walked to her car through a fog of humiliation. At home, she locked the door and sank onto the couch. Her phone wouldn't stop ringing. She answered Sienna. "I'm going to destroy whoever leaked this." Sienna's voice was molten fury. "I've already got 3 reporters asking for comment, and I told them exactly where they could." "Don't," Maya's voice cracked. "Please. It'll just make it worse." "Maya, I can't talk right now." Raymond called next. She let it ring through to voicemail, then listened with her eyes closed. "Maya, sweetheart, I'm so sorry. This is unconscionable. Ethan is trying to track down the source. Please call me when you can. The children, are they okay? The triplets?" Maya turned off her phone and went to the daycare early, pulling them out with mumbled excuses. At home, she held them close while they ate snacks and watched cartoons, sensing her distress, but not understanding it. Zoe patted her face. "Mommy sad again?" "I'm okay, baby." But she wasn't. 3:30 brought pounding on her door. "Maya, please, it's me." Ethan's voice, ragged and desperate. She stayed on the couch. "I know you're angry. I'm so sorry. Please let me explain." The triplets looked up, curious. Liam started toward the door. Maya intercepted him gently, then stood and opened it a crack. Ethan looked destroyed, His shirt was wrinkled, eyes red-rimmed, hair standing in every direction like he'd been dragging his hands through it for hours. "I've been up all night trying to find who did this. My lawyer thinks it's someone from the gala, maybe one of Jessica's friends, but the source was anonymous and—" "Lawyers." Maya's voice was flat. "That's your answer? Throw money at it?" "I don't know what else to do." His desperation scraped raw. "I never wanted this. I never wanted them to come after you." Maya stepped onto the porch, closing the door behind her so the children wouldn't hear. "This is your world, Ethan. This is what being with you means." Her voice dropped, cold and final. "People who see me as less than, as a threat, as something to destroy. I can't do this. Don't say that. Please." He reached for her hand. She stepped back. "I need space. Don't call me. Don't text. I need to think." "Maya, go." She went inside and locked the door. Heard his footsteps retreat slowly, heard his car start and fade. That night, after the triplets finally slept, Maya sat in the dark. She'd turned her phone back on. 53 messages now. Most were supportive: Sienna, Raymond, a few old friends. But others had found her number somehow. She clicked one. "You're just a welfare queen who trapped a rich man. Disgusting." The sob tore out of her before she could stop it. Another. "Those babies deserve better than a mother who uses them as meal tickets." She doubled over, chest heaving. Her key turned in the lock. Sienna, using her spare, arms already open. "Come here." Maya collapsed into her, shaking. "Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should have just stayed away, kept them safe from all this. This isn't your fault." Sienna held her tight. "None of this is your fault." But Maya whispered into the darkness, "Maybe I was safer alone." She meant it. Tuesday morning arrived grey and cold, the kind of Boston December day that matched Maya's internal landscape perfectly. She sat at her kitchen table, coffee gone cold in front of her, phone face up on the chipped formica. The screen stayed dark. She'd blocked 17 numbers overnight. Strangers who'd somehow found her felt entitled to tell her exactly what they thought of women like her. Sienna emerged from the bathroom, hair wrapped in a towel, fury radiating from every movement. She slammed a fresh mug of coffee in front of Maya. "I'm going to destroy whoever leaked those photos. I have contacts at every major event space in Boston. We'll find them." Maya didn't look up. "What's the point? The damage is done. The point is accountability. The point is I was stupid." Maya's voice cracked. "Stupid to think I could exist in his world without becoming a target." Sienna dropped into the chair across from her, reaching for Maya's hand. "You're not stupid. You're brave, and we're going to fight this." Maya pulled her hand away. "I'm tired, Sienna. I'm so tired." Ethan showed up Tuesday afternoon. Maya watched through the peephole as he knocked, waited, knocked again. His voice came muffled through the door. "Maya, please. Just talk to me for 5 minutes." She pressed her forehead against the door, close enough to hear him breathing on the other side. "I know you're there," he said quietly. "I know you're hurt, but shutting me out won't make this better." Maya's hand hovered over the deadbolt. One turn, and she could let him in. Let him try to fix it with apologies and promises and that desperate sincerity that had been chipping away at her defenses for weeks. But the comments section of that article burned behind her eyes. Gold digger, welfare queen, trap baby mama. She stepped back from the door. Ethan's voice dropped to a whisper she barely caught. "Please don't give up on us." His footsteps retreated down the hall. Maya slid down the door until she sat on the floor, arms wrapped around her knees. Raymond arrived Wednesday with 2 bags of groceries and no agenda. He let himself in with the spare key Maya had given him 3 weeks ago, back when she'd been foolish enough to believe they were building something real. "The triplets at daycare?" he asked, unpacking milk and bread. Maya nodded from her position at the table. "Same spot. Same cold coffee." Raymond didn't push conversation. He made soup something warm and simple and sat across from her while it simmered. The silence between them was comfortable, paternal. When the triplets came home, he played with them in the living room while Maya watched from the doorway. Before he left, he paused at her apartment door. "I know you're hurt. You have every right to be." Maya's throat tightened. "But don't let strangers dictate your life, Maya. Don't let them win. They already won. They made me remember my place." Raymond's eyes sharpened. "Your place is wherever you choose it to be, not where cruel people try to put you." After he left, Maya found a note tucked under her coffee mug. "Catherine would have loved you. She would have been proud to call you family." Ah, Maya cried for the first time since the article dropped. By Thursday, the tabloid story had faded from social media trending topics. Someone else's scandal had taken its place. The internet's attention span was mercifully short. But Maya couldn't shake how quickly people had believed the worst. How easily she'd been transformed from a woman trying to survive into a villain trying to scheme. The triplets asked about Ethan constantly. "Where's Daddy?" Zoe demanded. "At dinner Thursday night." "He's busy, sweetheart." Liam's eyes, too knowing for a 3-year-old, studied her face. "Are you mad at him?" Maya set down her fork. "It's complicated." "Do you still love him?" Zoe pressed. Maya's breath caught. "I never said I loved him, baby. But do you?" Maya stood, started clearing plates that weren't empty. "Finish your dinner." Friday evening, Sienna cornered her. "I'm not Ethan's biggest fan. You know that." Sienna poured wine neither of them had touched. "But he's been showing up for 2 months. Those kids adore him, and whether you want to admit it or not, he loves you. Love isn't enough. Maybe not. But throwing away something real because you're scared? That's just another kind of trap." Maya's head snapped up. "I'm not scared. You're terrified. I get it. His world is brutal. But you're not some fragile thing that breaks under pressure, Maya. You raised triplets alone. You survived losing him once already. You're stronger than this tabloid bullshit. It's not just the tabloid." Maya's voice rose. "It's what it represents. His privilege. His world where I'll always be the outsider, the one they tear apart. Or," Sienna said quietly, "you could be the woman who chose herself, chose her kids, and built something real despite the noise. But you have to decide if he's worth fighting for." Maya looked away. "What if I fight and lose again? What if you don't fight and lose anyway?" Friday night, after an extra long bedtime story, Zoe asked one more time, "When will we see Daddy?" Maya's vision blurred. "I don't know, baby. I miss him." "I know." After they slept, Maya sat in the dark living room, phone glowing in her hands. Ethan's latest text, sent an hour ago. "I'm not giving up on you. On us. I'll wait as long as it takes, but please know, I love you. I never stopped." The words cracked something in her chest. She typed, "I don't know if I can do this." Deleted it. Typed, "You hurt me." Deleted it. Finally, "I need more time." Ethan's response came within seconds. "Take all the time you need. I'll be here." Maya curled onto her side, phone pressed against her chest, caught between the safety of walls she'd built and the terrifying gravity of a heart she'd tried so hard not to give away. Saturday morning, sunlight cut through Ethan's penthouse windows, harsh and unforgiving. He sat at his dining table, a surface that had once hosted business deals and catered dinner parties, now buried under printouts, legal briefs, and crumpled drafts covered in scratched-out words. He looked like a man coming apart at the seams. The door clicked open. Raymond let himself in, still using the key Ethan had given him back when things were simpler, back when the biggest problem in his life was which venture to fund next. "Jesus, Ethan." Ethan glanced up, hollow-eyed. 3 days of stubble darkened his jaw. His shirt was wrinkled, the same one he'd worn yesterday. "Dad, I didn't know you were coming." Clearly. Raymond set a bag of groceries on the counter, real food, not the takeout containers currently decomposing in the sink. "You look like hell. Feel worse." Raymond pulled out a chair, sat across from his son. Up close, the damage was worse. Shadows under Ethan's eyes, a tremor in his hands as he shuffled papers. "Any progress?" "No." Ethan's voice cracked. "The leak's anonymous. Lawyers say we could sue for defamation, but it'd take months and keep the story alive longer. PR firm wants me to issue a bland statement and let it blow over." He laughed, bitter. "Let it blow over? Like Maya's just collateral damage." "What does Maya say?" "She won't talk to me, won't see me. I've tried everything, calls, texts, showing up at her door. She asked for space, and I'm trying to respect that. But Dad," Ethan pressed his palms against his eyes, "I'm losing her. I'm losing all of them." Raymond studied the papers scattered across the table. Legal strategy, crisis management, damage control, all wrong. "You're thinking like a businessman." Ethan's hands dropped. "What? This isn't a problem you solve with money or lawyers or strategic positioning. This is about character, about who you are when everything's on the line." Raymond leaned forward. "What do you stand for, Ethan? What are you willing to risk?" "I'd risk anything for them." "Then prove it. Publicly." The words hung between them. Ethan shook his head slowly. "The PR firm said." "I don't give a damn what the PR firm said. They're protecting your reputation. I'm talking about protecting your family. Raymond's voice gentled. Tell the truth. Your truth, not some sanitized corporate statement you. Raw and honest. Defend Maya. Celebrate her. Show the world you're not ashamed of her or your children. Show them you're proud. Ethan's throat worked. That means everyone will know everything. My investors, my colleagues, the whole city. Yes, I could lose business. Credibility. Maybe. People will think. Let them think what they want. Raymond's hand covered his son's. Your mother, if she were here, would tell you the same thing. Be brave. Be honest. Be the man you want your children to see when they look at you. Catherine's face flashed in Ethan's mind. Her gentle certainty, her unshakable moral clarity. She would have loved Maya, would have adored the triplets. She would have been ashamed of the man he'd become and proud of the man he was trying to be. I don't know if it'll work. It's not about whether it works. It's about doing what's right. Ethan wrote all weekend. He filled pages crossing out, starting over, digging deeper each time. No corporate polish, no careful hedging, just truth, messy and exposed. By Sunday night, his eyes burned and his hand cramped, but he had something real. Raymond read it in the kitchen while Ethan paced. When his father looked up, tears tracked down his weathered face. This is it, son. This is what you needed to say. Monday morning, 8:47 a.m. Ethan sat at his laptop, cursor hovering over Publish. The letter was loaded. His company website, his LinkedIn, his rarely used Twitter account. He'd sent advance copies to the Boston Globe, local news outlets. No lawyers had reviewed it, no PR team had softened the edges. Just him, unfiltered. His finger trembled over the mouse. Then he clicked. The page refreshed. The letter went live. My name is Ethan Cole, and I need to tell you about the strongest person I know. Within 20 minutes, the analytics showed hundreds of views. By 9:30, thousands. Comments rolled in, supportive, angry, confused, moved. Ethan watched the numbers climb. Numb. None of it mattered, except one person. He picked up his phone, typed carefully, I published something. I hope you'll read it. No pressure. Sent. Then he waited. Across town, Maya's phone erupted. She was on the floor with the triplets, building a block tower, when the notifications started dozens, then hundreds. Her screen lit up like a firework display. Sienna's name flashed. Maya answered. Maya, you need to see this. Now. See what? Check your messages. I'm sending you a link. The URL appeared. Maya's stomach dropped at the domain. Ethan's company website. She clicked. The headline appeared. An open letter on failure, forgiveness, and the family I don't deserve. Maya's breath stopped. My name is Ethan Cole, and I need to tell you about the strongest person I know. Her vision blurred. She kept reading. Maya sat frozen on her couch, phone trembling in her hands. The triplets played with blocks on the living room floor, Liam building towers, Zoe knocking them down, Noah watching both with solemn concentration. Through the phone speaker, Sienna's breathing was the only sound besides Maya's own, pulse hammering in her ears. She scrolled back to the beginning and read again. My name is Ethan Cole, and I need to tell you about the strongest person I know. The words blurred. Maya blinked hard. 4 years ago, I met a woman named Maya Johnson. She was coordinating a charity event, and I was just another donor in a suit. But she was different, warm, brilliant, real. We fell in love, fast and deeply. Then my mother died, and I fell apart. I shut everyone out, including Maya. I was a coward. Maya's hand covered her mouth. She remembered those weeks after Catherine's funeral, how Ethan had stopped answering calls, how his number changed without warning, how she'd shown up at his office only to be turned away by security who didn't recognize her name, how thoroughly he'd erased her. Maya wrote me a letter telling me she was pregnant. I never saw it. Someone I trusted intercepted it, and I didn't even notice because I was too wrapped up in my own pain. For 4 years, she raised our 3 children, Liam, Zoe, and Noah, alone. No support, no help, just her strength and love. The tears came hard now, hot tracks down her cheeks, every sleepless night in the NICU, every bill she'd juggled, every birthday, every milestone, every moment she'd whispered to her babies that they were loved, even if their father didn't know they existed. He was telling the world. Then, in a moment of unforgivable cruelty, I invited her to a gala. To serve drinks a callback to how we met, meant to mock her. I can't explain why I did it, except that I was bitter and small. When she arrived with our children, 3 beautiful, brilliant kids who look exactly like me, my world shattered. I realized what I'd thrown away. Zoe noticed first. She dropped her block and climbed onto the couch, small hands patting Maya's wet face. "Mommy, okay?" Maya pulled her daughter close, kissing the top of her head. "Yeah, baby, Mommy's okay." Liam and Noah abandoned their game, pressing against her sides. She held them with one arm, while her other hand gripped the phone. The tabloid that attacked Maya last week called her a gold digger. That's a lie. The truth is, I abandoned her. I failed her, and she built a life, a beautiful, loving life, without me because I gave her no other choice. She didn't trap me. She gave me a gift I didn't deserve, a second chance to know my children and to prove I could be better. Her chest heaved. The triplets watched her with wide eyes, confused but patient. "Maya, if you're reading this, I love you. I loved you 5 years ago. I loved you when I was too broken to show it, and I love you now. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm asking for the chance to spend the rest of my life proving I've changed. You are not less than anyone in my world. You are more than I ever deserved." Maya pressed her fist against her mouth, trying to hold back the sob building in her throat. "And to anyone who attacked her, I hope you never know the pain of being judged so harshly and unfairly. She is a remarkable mother, a remarkable woman, and I am blessed that she lets me into her life at all." The letter ended with words for the triplets, promises to be present, to show up, to love them fiercely. Then a final line. "Thank you, Maya, for carrying the weight I should have shared. I will spend every day trying to be worthy of you." Maya sat staring at the screen, tears dripping onto her lap. "Damn," Sienna's voice cracked through the speaker. "He really did that." A laugh burst out of Maya, wet, shaky, disbelieving. She wiped her face with the heel of her hand. Liam tilted his head up. "Is that from Daddy?" Maya nodded, throat tight. "Yeah, baby, it's from Daddy." She looked at her children, at Liam's serious green eyes, at Zoe's curious expression, at Noah's gentle face. They deserved this. They deserved a father who would claim them publicly, loudly, without shame. She deserved it too. Maya stood abruptly, setting the triplets aside with gentle hands. She grabbed her coat from the hook by the door. "Wait, what are you doing?" Sienna's voice sharpened. "Can you come watch the kids?" "Maya, please, Sienna, I need to see him." A pause. Then, "I'll be there in 10 minutes. Maya pulled on her coat with shaking fingers. Her heart hammered against her ribs, fear and hope tangled so tight she couldn't separate them. The triplets clustered around her legs. "Where you going, Mommy?" She knelt, eye level with all 3. "To see Daddy. I'll be back soon." Zoe grinned. "Tell him we miss him." Something cracked open in Maya's chest, the last wall crumbling, the final defense falling away. "I will, baby, I promise." Sienna arrived in 9 minutes, breathless from running up the stairs. She found Maya pacing the living room, coat on, keys clutched in one hand. "You're sure about this?" Maya stopped. "No, but I'm doing it anyway." Sienna pulled her into a quick, fierce hug. "Then go get him." The drive downtown blurred past traffic lights, pedestrians, the glittering harbor. Maya's hands trembled on the steering wheel. She texted from a red light. "I'm coming to see you. Are you there?" The response came before the light turned green. "Yes, I'll be here." She parked in the garage beneath Ethan's building, sat in the sudden silence, and forced herself to breathe. Through the windshield, concrete pillars and fluorescent lights. Behind her, the life she'd built alone. Ahead, unknown. Maya grabbed her purse and walked to the elevator. The lobby was all glass and steel, intimidating in its polish. The receptionist glanced up, and Maya caught the flicker of recognition. Tabloid photos. Probably. But the woman's expression softened quickly, professional mask sliding into place. 23rd floor. Mr. Cole is expecting you." Maya nodded, mute, and stepped into the elevator. The ascent felt endless. Her reflection stared back from the mirrored walls, eyes red-rimmed, hair hastily smoothed, no makeup. She looked exactly like what she was, a tired single mother who'd been crying, not polished, not put together, real. The doors opened. Ethan's assistant sat at a sleek desk, papers spread before her. She looked up, and something warm crossed her face. Sympathy. Maybe. Understanding. "He's expecting you. Go right in." Maya's legs moved without conscious thought. Through the glass walls of the corner office, she saw him standing at the window, back to the door, shoulders rigid. The city sprawled behind him, all sharp angles and winter light. She knocked. He turned. His face did something complicated, shock bleeding into hope, bleeding into fear. He looked as wrecked as she felt. Unshaven, rumpled shirt, eyes shadowed. Maya. She stepped inside and closed the door. The click of the latch felt final, significant. They stared at each other across 10 feet of expensive carpet. "I read your letter." Her voice came out steadier than she expected. Ethan nodded, throat working. He didn't speak. "You didn't have to do that. Put yourself out there like that." "Yes, I did." His voice cracked. "You deserved it." They deserved it. Fresh tears spilled down Maya's cheeks. "I've been so angry at you. For so long. I know." He took half a step forward, then stopped. "I deserve that. But I also," she struggled for words, "I see you trying. I see you showing up, changing, loving them." She swallowed hard. "Loving me." Ethan's hands flexed at his sides. "I do love you. So much. I know I don't deserve another chance. But Maya, if you'll let me, I will spend every day proving." Maya crossed the space between them and kissed him. For one stunned heartbeat, Ethan froze. Then his hands came up, cradling her face like she was made of light and air, and he kissed her back. Years collapsed the girl she'd been when they first met, hopeful and fearless. The woman she'd become, scarred but strong, all of it present in this moment, this choice. They broke apart, gasping. Ethan pressed his forehead to hers, both of them shaking. "I'm still scared," Maya whispered. "Me too." His thumbs brushed her cheekbones, catching tears. "But I'm not running. Not this time." She laughed, wet, broken, relieved. "Good, because I can't do this alone anymore. You won't have to, I promise." They stood there, holding each other, while the city hummed beyond the glass. Hours passed in his office. They sat close on the leather couch, knees touching, hands intertwined. Ethan asked about the triplets. Maya pulled out her phone, scrolling through recent photos. Noah building a block tower, Zoe dancing in the living room, Liam reading a picture book upside down. Ethan studied each image like scripture. "Can I see them tonight?" His voice held careful hope. "All of you?" Maya nodded. "They miss you. We all do." His smile broke open, tremulous and bright. "Dinner at your place? Nothing fancy. Mac and cheese, probably. Perfect." That same Monday evening, Maya stood in her tiny kitchen, wiping down counters that were already clean. 6 o'clock. Ethan would arrive any minute. "Mummy, is the table pretty enough?" Zoe spun in a circle, admiring the mismatched plates and paper napkins she'd helped arrange. "It's perfect, baby." Sienna leaned against the refrigerator, arms crossed, watching Maya with barely concealed amusement. "You've wiped that counter 4 times. I'm not nervous." "You're vibrating." The doorbell rang. 3 small bodies launched themselves toward the door like missiles. "Daddy, Daddy's here." Maya's breath caught. She smoothed her sweater, ran a hand over her hair, then gave up pretending she wasn't terrified. Sienna squeezed her shoulder. "Go." At the door, Ethan stood with flowers in one hand, simple grocery store daisies, nothing extravagant, and a bakery bag in the other. His hair was slightly disheveled, tie loosened, and the smile he wore was almost shy. "Hi." "Hi." Maya accepted the flowers, their fingers brushing. Heat climbed her neck. Liam tugged Ethan's pant leg. "Did you bring cookies?" Ethan crouched, presenting the bag with mock seriousness. "Chocolate chip," as requested. Zoe shrieked. Noah peeked from behind Maya's legs, then ventured forward to touch the bag. "For after dinner," Maya said firmly, but she was smiling. Dinner was beautiful chaos. Zoe narrated her entire week between bites of spaghetti, barely pausing for breath. "And then," Marcus said, "his dog could fly. But I said, that's silly. Dogs don't fly. But maybe big dogs could if they tried really hard. And, Zoe, chew." Maya passed the salad bowl to Ethan, who was listening to Zoe with complete attention, nodding gravely at the possibility of flying dogs. Liam showed Ethan a drawing of their family, 5 stick figures, holding hands under a lopsided sun. "That's you," he said, pointing to the tallest figure. "You're really tall." Ethan's eyes went bright. "Can I keep this?" "Uh-huh." Across the table, Sienna caught Maya's eye and mouthed, "You good?" Maya nodded, throat tight, with something too big to name. When Noah knocked over his juice-full cup, red liquid spreading across the table. Maya moved automatically, but Ethan was faster. "Got it, buddy." "No worries." He mopped up the spill, refilled the cup, and ruffled Noah's hair. "Happens to everyone." Noah's whispered, "Thanks, Daddy," nearly undid them both. Bath time was warfare. Water sloshed over the tub's edge as Zoe demonstrated her mermaid impression. Ethan knelt on the wet floor, sleeves rolled up, attempting to corral 3 slippery, giggling children. "Noah, we need to wash your hair." "No, just a little." Noah shrieked and dove underwater. Ethan looked at Maya, who was leaning in the doorway, laughing so hard she could barely breathe. "Is this normal?" "Every single night." Ethan emerged 20 minutes later, shirt soaked through, hair dripping. "I think I lost." Maya handed him a towel. "Welcome to parenting." He grinned, boyish and unguarded. "I wouldn't trade it for anything." Bedtime was quieter. The triplets piled onto Liam's bed, dragging Ethan and Maya with them. 5 bodies crammed into a twin mattress, picture book balanced on Ethan's knee. "Once upon a time," Ethan began, his voice dropping into story mode. "There were 3 brave explorers. Halfway through, Noah's breathing evened out, his small body heavy against Ethan's side. Ethan adjusted his hold, kept reading. Zoe's eyes drooped. Liam fought sleep, blinking hard, but eventually surrendered. Ethan finished the story in a whisper. When he tried to stand, Liam's hand shot out, gripping his wrist. "Don't go." Ethan looked at Maya. She nodded. "I'll stay until you're asleep, buddy. Promise." 10 minutes later, Ethan extracted himself carefully, tucking blankets around 3 sleeping children. In the hallway, he sagged against the wall, exhaling hard. "You okay?" Maya whispered. "That was the best hour of my life." They settled on the couch, her small, second-hand couch that sagged in the middle, close but not touching. The apartment was quiet, except for the hum of the refrigerator and distant traffic. "We should talk," Maya said, "about how this works." Ethan nodded. "I want to be here. Consistently. 3 times a week. More, if you'll let me." "And us?" He turned toward her, knee brushing hers. "I want to do this right. Take you to dinner. Learn your favorite things again. Court you." Maya's laugh was soft, disbelieving. "You want to date me? I want to earn you. Every day." Her chest tightened. "Okay, we can try." Yeah. At 10, Ethan stood at her door, coat on, but making no move to leave. "I'll call you tomorrow." "You better." He leaned down, kissed her slow and sweet, a promise instead of a question. When he pulled back, his forehead rested against hers. "Thank you." "For what?" "Letting me come home." Maya watched from the doorway as he walked to his car, watched him turn and wave like a teenager. She waved back, grinning like an idiot. Inside, her phone buzzed. "Sienna, details. Now." Maya typed back. "He stayed for bath time. We're dating. I think I'm happy. Sienna." Finally. Maya checked on the triplets one last time, 3 perfect faces, peaceful in sleep. She kissed each forehead. "We're going to be okay," she whispered. And for the first time in 4 years, she believed it. Mid-January arrived with fresh snow and new rhythms. 6 weeks had passed since Maya walked into Ethan's office and kissed him. 6 weeks of careful, deliberate reconstruction. The montage of their life together played out in stolen moments and intentional ones. Candle-lit dinners at quiet restaurants, where Ethan held her hand across white tablecloths and listened, really listened to her dreams for the community center's expansion. Weekend afternoons at his penthouse, now transformed with primary-colored toy bins and a wall covered in the triplets' artwork, where they'd sprawl on his once pristine leather couch, watching Frozen for the 19th time. Sunday mornings at Raymond's kitchen table, all 6 of them covered in pancake batter after Zoe's helpful flour toss, laughing until their sides ached. Small intimacies had woven themselves into the fabric of their days. Ethan's hand, at the small of Maya's back, while they navigated the Children's Museum. Maya reaching for him automatically when Noah scraped his knee at the park. Stolen kisses in her kitchen while the triplets were distracted by coloring books, brief and sweet and full of promise. The word daddy fell from their children's lips without hesitation now. No more testing, no more wariness, just pure, uncomplicated trust. This particular Saturday, Ethan had planned something bigger. A whole weekend? Maya stared at the packed duffel bag by his feet. Overnight? A cabin in the Berkshires, fireplace, snow, completely private. His expression carried boyish hope mixed with grown-up intention. Just the five of us. I want us to have this time away from everything else. Time to just be. Maya's stomach flipped. Overnight meant something. Meant trust on a level they hadn't attempted yet. Okay, she heard herself say. Let's do it. The cabin materialized through falling snow like something from a storybook timber frame, stone chimney, warm light spilling from diamond-paned windows. The triplets tumbled from the car in a tornado of excitement, boots crunching fresh powder. It's like Elsa's house, Zoe shrieked. Without the ice monster, Liam corrected seriously. Noah just stared, wonder-struck. That evening, after stories and songs and tucking 3 exhausted bodies into sleeping bags in the cabin's small second bedroom, Maya and Ethan collapsed onto the couch, facing the stone fireplace. Orange flames cast dancing shadows across his face. He handed her cocoa, made the way she liked it, extra marshmallows, and pulled a thick quilt around both their shoulders. I've been thinking about the future, Ethan said quietly. About us. Maya's pulse kicked. Yeah, I want this, permanently. His green eyes found hers through the firelight. I want to marry you, Maya. I want us to be a family, legally, officially, every way that matters. The cocoa nearly slipped from her fingers. Ethan, we've only been back together for 6 weeks. I know. He caught her free hand, threaded their fingers together. I'm not asking now. I'm telling you my intention. I'm going to ask you, properly, when the time is right. But I needed you to know this isn't casual for me. You and the kids, you're my life now. Tears blurred her vision. 6 weeks ago she'd been convinced they were impossible. Now here he sat, offering her forever with the same certainty he once offered venture capital. I want that too, she whispered. Eventually. But let's take our time. Make sure it's solid. However long you need. He kissed her gently, tasting of chocolate and promise. They talked until the fire burned to embers, about houses big enough for tricycles in the hallway, and Raymond's frequent visits, about the triplets' schooling, and how to blend their vastly different worlds without losing themselves. Real conversations. Adult planning. Hope made tangible. Sunday morning light found Maya alone in the big bed, woken by familiar giggles drifting from the kitchen. She padded out barefoot to find organized chaos. Ethan stood at the stove in pajama pants and a Harvard t-shirt, spatula in hand, while 3 small sous chefs helped. Batter handprints decorated every surface. Smoke curled from something burnt. Liam was covered in flour. Zoe had apparently bathed in maple syrup. Ethan looked up, saw her, and grinned unguarded, joyful, utterly transformed from the cold man at that gala 2 months ago. Good morning. We made breakfast. Sort of. Maya's heart cracked open with something too big for words. She joined them, salvaging what pancakes could be saved, and they ate together around the small wooden table while snow painted the world white outside. Perfect imperfection. As they packed to leave, Zoe tugged Ethan's sleeve. Can we come back here? He knelt, eye level with his daughter. Anytime you want, sweetheart. The drive home was quiet, triplets sleeping in their car seats, Ethan's warm hand resting on Maya's knee. She covered it with her own and watched the road ahead disappear beneath their tires. They were going forward now, finally, together. Late February brought warmer winds and a 4-year milestone. The triplets' birthday party transformed Raymond's living room into controlled pandemonium dinosaur-themed streamers drooped from the ceiling. Metallic balloons bobbed against the walls, and a towering cake shaped like a T-Rex commanded the dining table. Liam, Zoe, and Noah wore matching birthday outfits, tiny jeans and shirts with big number 4s emblazoned across the front. They careened through the house with the particular wildness of children hopped up on anticipation and frosting. Maya navigated the chaos with practiced ease, ensuring napkins reached sticky hands and juice boxes didn't become projectiles. Raymond orchestrated Pin the Tail on the dinosaur with theatrical enthusiasm, while a handful of daycare friends shrieked with delight. Sienna stationed herself near the cake, camera in hand, documenting everything with the devotion of an honorary aunt. But Maya kept catching Ethan watching her, not the fond observation she'd grown accustomed to over the past 3 months. This was different, nervous energy radiating from him, his fingers drumming against his thigh, a secretive smile flickering across his face whenever their eyes met. "You okay?" she'd asked earlier, touching his arm. "Perfect." The word came too fast. Everything's perfect, now, as wrapping paper littered the floor and children argued over whose turn it was with the new dinosaur figures. Ethan cleared his throat. "Hey, everyone, can we gather in the living room for a second? I have something to say." The chatter died down. Sienna's eyes narrowed knowingly. Raymond's face split into a grin he couldn't quite contain. Maya's stomach dropped. "Ethan." He took her hand, his palm warm and slightly damp. The triplets crowded closer, sensing something important in the adult tension. Liam grabbed Maya's other hand protectively. Then Ethan knelt. Maya's breath stopped. Her free hand flew to her mouth. "Maya Johnson." His voice shook, but he held her gaze. "You are the strongest, most beautiful person I've ever known." Tears already blurred her vision. "You gave me 3 incredible children when I didn't deserve them. You gave me a second chance I definitely didn't deserve." He pulled a small velvet box from his pocket, and Sienna made a strangled sound behind her camera. "I've spent the last few months trying to prove I'm worthy of you, and I'll spend the rest of my life continuing to prove it." The box opened. A simple band with a single diamond caught the afternoon light. Elegant, understated, perfect. "Will you marry me?" The room held its collective breath. The triplets pressed against Maya's legs, wide-eyed. Raymond clutched the back of the sofa like it was the only thing keeping him upright. Maya nodded frantically before words could form. "Yes." It came out as a whisper, then stronger. "Yes, Ethan, I'll marry you." His hands trembled as he slipped the ring onto her finger. The fit was perfect. He'd somehow gotten her size right. Then he stood, and she pulled him into a kiss that tasted like salt and joy and promise. The room erupted. The triplets piled onto them, not fully understanding but absorbing the happiness. Zoe shouted, "What's happening?" while Noah giggled and Liam wrapped his arms around both their legs. Raymond openly wept, not bothering to hide it. Sienna raised her champagne glass, voice thick. About damn time. Hours later, the apartment was silent. The triplets had crashed hard, birthday exhaustion claiming them before their usual bedtime. Maya sat on the couch, still in her party clothes, staring at her left hand like it belonged to someone else. "I can't believe this is real." Ethan settled beside her, pulling her against his chest. "It's real. We're real." She traced the diamond with her thumb. "I never thought I'd have this. A partner. A family." Her voice dropped. "After you left, I thought I'd be alone forever." His arms tightened around her, almost fierce. "You're not alone. You'll never be alone again." They talked until midnight. Small wedding plans. Intimate, summer, maybe Raymond's garden. Practical logistics. A house with enough bedrooms. Close to Raymond, but still Maya's neighborhood. Dreams they were finally brave enough to voice. Eventually they dozed there, wrapped around each other on the worn couch. The diamond caught the streetlight filtering through the blinds, casting tiny prisms across the wall. On the mantel, the pumpkin patch photo stood in its new frame, no longer a tentative snapshot of strangers trying, but proof of what they'd built from ruin. 6 months evaporated like morning dew. Early August arrived with golden sunshine, and a promise Maya had stopped believing in years ago. Raymond's backyard had transformed overnight into something from a dream. White chairs lined the freshly mowed lawn in neat rows. An arch draped with cream roses and greenery stood ready at the far end, and string lights crisscrossed overhead, waiting for evening to give them purpose. Inside the house, Maya stood before the full-length mirror in Raymond's guest room, hardly recognizing herself. The dress was simple, no train, no excessive beading, just clean lines that skimmed her figure and made her dark skin glow. Her natural hair was styled in elegant twists adorned with small white flowers, and the veil Sienna now adjusted fell softly to her shoulders. "You ready for this?" Sienna stepped back, examining her work with critical approval. Maya's eyes filled. "More than anything." "Good answer." Sienna squeezed her hand. "Because that man out there is about 2 seconds from losing it, and you haven't even walked out yet." Through the window, Maya could see guests arriving, colleagues from the community center, friends from the neighborhood, a handful of Ethan's business associates who'd proven themselves decent humans. 30 people, maybe. Enough to witness, not enough to perform for. Perfect. "The triplets ready?" Maya checked her reflection one last time. Liam's giving Noah a pep talk about not eating the flower petals. Zoe's practicing her basket technique on anyone who'll watch. Sienna grinned. "They're perfect." Music started something classical and simple. The back door opened, and 3 small figures emerged. Liam and Noah wore miniature suits that made them look impossibly grown up. their bow ties slightly crooked despite Sienna's best efforts. Between them, Zoe commanded attention in a white dress that matched her mother's, a basket of rose petals gripped in both hands. She took her job seriously, too seriously. Each petal received individual attention as she placed it with exaggerated care. Guests chuckled. Someone whispered, "We'll be here all day." But Liam tugged her hand gently. "Come on, Zoe. Daddy's waiting." The three of them made it down the aisle, veering only slightly off course, and took their places with Raymond at the front. Then Maya appeared in the doorway. She'd chosen to walk alone. Her mother was gone, and no father had ever claimed her. But she didn't need anyone to give her away. She'd belonged to herself all along, and now she was choosing to belong to someone else too. Ethan saw her, and his composure shattered immediately. Tears streaked his face before she'd taken 3 steps. Raymond's hand on his shoulder steadied him, barely. Maya walked toward him, toward the family waiting, and the August sun painted everything gold. The ceremony was brief. Neither of them wanted pageantry, just promises. When it came time for vows, Ethan's voice shook, but held. "Maya, you taught me that love isn't about perfection, it's about showing up, even when it's hard." He gripped her hands like anchors. "You gave me a family when I didn't deserve one, and you gave me a reason to be better. I promise to choose you, every day, for the rest of my life." Maya's throat tightened. She'd written her vows on a small card, but looking at Ethan now, this man who'd broken her and then painstakingly rebuilt what he'd destroyed, the words came from somewhere deeper. "Ethan, you broke my heart, and then you put it back together." Her voice caught. "You showed me that people can change, that mistakes don't define us, and that courage means trying again, even when you're scared. I promise to choose you, and to build a life with you, where our children know they're loved. Always." Zoe whispered loudly, "Is Mummy crying?" Liam whispered back, "Happy crying." The officiant barely got through the pronouncement before Ethan pulled Maya into a kiss that made the small crowd whoop and cheer. Evening settled soft and warm. The reception spilled across the lawn, dancing, toasts, the triplets spinning until they collapsed dizzy and giggling.